Yeah, Lauren, Doc, how does this play out? Who's winning and why tonight?
Well, Doc, I think I've said this we've had a decent, extensive little pre-game here, but for me, I think Port Adelaide come in as favourites, both teams 3 and 4, but the pressure that's been heaped on the Crows post-Gabba, despite the fact their losses have come very narrowly to very good sides, I just think Port Adelaide's belief in themselves in the last couple of weeks, the narrow loss to Hawthorn, the comprehensive win against Geelong here, and the form of the likes of Horne-Francis and Butters and Georgiades, I just think it shapes up for a Port Adelaide win, and they are more than overdue.
Well, they're certainly overdue, yeah. They're 5 out of the last 6 with the Crows. I'm not too concerned about that performance up in Brisbane last week, to be honest. As I said earlier, for those new to the call, Brisbane are going to do that to a number of teams this year, and it was really a 15-minute burst. As you highlighted, the losses that the Crows have had over not only this season, but the last 2 or 3 seasons have all been by narrow margins. And yes, they haven't hit their best form this season, but there's no better moment than a showdown to sort of get back on the horse. Only the 5-day turn, 8-hour trip and all that. Good. Let's go. Because all that stuff is irrelevant once you get out here. And the fact that you've had a short break, essentially they wouldn't have trained at any great intensity across this week. And so essentially you're just rolling from one game into the other, and they'll come out bristly because it was a performance that's been unlike them over the last 2 years. So Crows by a narrow margin, in my opinion.
I like it. We're head-to-head and on opposite paths already. It's going to be a big night. I do wonder the travel factor. I know you said, Doc, that the way the week structures out, it'll balance out. But to go 5 days from Brisbane, you're coming back home, the emotional ride of going to Robe and back as well. It's a big week before a showdown. Maybe that does fuel them, but maybe it wears them down to an extent.
Yeah, no, I think it goes one of 2 ways. To Doc's point, I think it can work for you. You're certainly not having the opportunity to sit in the Brisbane loss in any way, shape or form. You have nothing but to move on from that very quickly. But I do think if you do have a couple of sore bodies in the side and some injury challenges across your list, 8 hours in a car and a very heavy emotional time for everybody, I think that can take its toll.
Yeah, no doubt. But I would argue that toll may be seen next week. I'd say that this week it's potentially less of a factor because, yeah, that just the capacity to have to move on, not only from obviously the loss last week, but then, yeah, it's been an emotional period for the group. But you get out here, you've got 2 hours to put all that to one side and you play footy. And I don't think that's such a bad thing in these circumstances.
Crows fans will shudder hearing you say that because they've got Richmond next week. And for some reason, whenever they play Richmond, and even when the Tigers are down and out, they seem to let those games slip. So
let's get through this one first.
Let's just get through the showdown.
Some huge ins for Adelaide, and I think it came up on the big screen here. Obviously, people can't say that. Alex Neil-Bullen is such a leader. He's been such a wonderful addition, and I really feel like he's probably played that contribution role last year, so important in many contests. I feel like he'd be right up there in their best and fairest, and the way he leads out there will be huge for them tonight. Obviously, we know Dan Curtin and Jake Saligo is one of those ones that's been challenged, with his limited pre-season. He had the heart surgery and dropped back to the sample, has 39-40 touches last week, 2 goals. Like, he'll be smarting, which is a word that Doc used earlier in the broadcast. I think there's just no excuse for the Crows tonight to come out. I know that we've listed all those things, but their season, it's not quite on the line, but, in a big showdown, there's just no reason for them not to be up for it, and they just have to win this game. I'm not saying that they will, but for their mentality, and they're coming into it, and I think the fans can sense it, just being around the ground a little bit earlier, it is so much at stake for them.
It's almost the 8-point game, isn't it, where we talk about how long the season is and we're barely a third of the way through it, and what's one game in the grand scheme, but it's just about momentum and your crosstown rival, where you sit if you're 3 and 5, it just makes it a little harder. And, in the back of your mind, the season just plays out a little differently than you anticipated. And
following on from Lauren's point in terms of the way that Port are playing and their midfield group, the way that they've been able to keep it in their forward half, I think they're leading the competition in that stat. I completely see how that they should be favourites on all of those measures. And funnily enough, perhaps we're seeing maybe a Ken Hinkley style from the Crows tonight, because everything suggests, those numbers that Port, are playing better footy. but perhaps that emotional drive that Ken was able to get brought up for so much more, where Josh seems a much more level coach. Maybe that's something that the Crows can feed into tonight, because they really need it.
He said at post-game last week after their big win over Geelong that we're not a team that, well, I don't want this to be a team that rides emotions. And yet, that was Ken Hinkley to a T. It was a roller coaster at times when they were up and down, and yeah, maybe the levelness and calmness of Josh Carr can bring in this new era of the football club, and see if they can back it up tonight after the 5-goal win over the Cats in Showdown 59. We're moments away from bounce down. Quarter time at Docklands. Bulldogs up by 26 over Fremantle. I don't know about you guys, but I had Fremantle in my tips, so
yeah, that one's going
against
against predictions, I'd imagine.
Can only assume the team English inclusion is making such a difference for the Doggies, and I think the game at Docklands as well makes a pretty big difference for the Bulldogs. Home venue, and their style of footy certainly suits that stadium.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it, Loz. English servicing Marcus Bontempelli, who's having a field day right now. So Dogs up by 26. If you have just joined us from that game, in anticipation of the start of this one, no late changes here. And Nathan Van Berlo confirming in the pre-game to us that Dan Curtin will be on managed minutes to start the game, and then it's a matter of how it plays out across the evening. Both captains in the middle in the build-up to Showdown 59. Josh Money's got his eye on it all. What's it like down at ground level, Josh?
Oh, it's unseasonably warm for this time of year. It's a beautiful, beautiful night, Aaron, but will be interesting to see these mid-20 conditions, how that sort of affects the contest early on. Does it play into the Crows' hands after they had a trip to the Gabba last weekend? That said, they are coming off a 5-day break, so very interesting to see. Indeed, the two standing captains have just had the coin toss in the middle, and Zach Butters was the winner of that. So Port Adelaide will kick to the southern end of the ground in this first quarter. So very, very interesting to see how both teams start. Slow starts have been a problem for both sides. So just having a little look to the benches as well. It's Berry, Moraes, Wines, Marshall and Lai for Port. On the bench for the Crows, Taylor, Pedler, Saligo and Bond. Watch out for Dan Curtin's minutes tonight. We heard Nathan Van Berlo in the pre-game talking about using him as that 23rd man. So much hype around him, but it'll be really interesting to see how much game time he gets tonight and whether they'll throw him straight into the Showdown cauldron and for how long. So can't wait for this one. Perfect conditions down here.
So Saligo, Curtin and Pedler benched early means our midfield mix to start for the Crows is Peatling, Berry and Isaac Rankin. With Lockie McAndrew in the middle. The Port have gone all their heavy hitters. Horn Francis, Zach Butters, Willem Drew, ready to rock and roll. It is a big night in South Australia. Pride on the line, as well as the 4th victory of the season for both Adelaide and Port Adelaide, sitting at 3-4. We're locked in and ready to go on ABC Sport. It is great to have your company for Friday night football at the Adelaide Oval. Lauren Arnell, Matthew Clark, your experts. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson to call the action for you tonight. Here we go. Showdown 59. You're with Tom Wilson.
What a treat. Jason Horne-Francis up against Isaac Rankin going head-to-head in the first contest. Jordan Sweet knocks it down in their direction. Butters swoops. Tackled by Rankin. Slung in the tackle. Handballs forward. McAndrew, the big fella, takes on Jason Horne-Francis in the tackle. Horne-Francis lays another tackle on Keys. Ball remains in dispute. Still near the centre circle in Showdown 59. Butters pulled off the footy. Play on, says the umpire. Neil Bullen in there. Flick the handball out to Cook. To Rory Laird. They're surging forward. The Crows, they win their first inside 50 up towards Toby Murray, but too smart was Logan Evans for the power. He takes the intercept mark.
Big night for Toby, selected ahead of his brother and Finbar Maley. Not the start he would have hoped for, but plenty ahead. Miles Bergman now has it and moves it to Burgoyne. He's at right half back. Early stages of Showdown 59. Jace Burgoyne looks for the switch, has to place it well between two Crows. Does a good enough job to Farrell, who completes it out to the eastern side. Malia now has it left half back, heads straight down the line, outnumbered, flying with the fist. Good effort from McKinlay, hits the deck, sliding in on Francis, spun in the tackle of Berry. They get a ball up at the attacking edge.
Thrown up there, and Sweet takes it out of the ruck, immediately tackled by McAndrew. The umpire says holding the footy.
It's a feature of his game. He's a rugby union background, and his tackling is elite for a big boy.
So it goes short to Neil Bullen, marks in front of Farrell, plays on quickly, centre wing, chips it over the top looking for Rankin, but couldn't hit the target. That'll be a lasso free kick. Going out of bounds there, untouched. Darcy Byrne-Jones has it for the Power. Defensive side of centre wing, outer side of the ground. Still no score. 2 minutes gone in showdown 59.
Feels back to his best, the All-Australian defender in his primary role. Heads down the line, Byrne-Jones, floating across butts, brings it to ground. Clean at ground level, Georgiades got it out to McKinlay. Spears a low dart, was looking for Vicentini. Getting in front is Miller up. Short pass to Borlays, was it 15? Yes. Defensive 50 at the moment. They move it out to the broadcast side. Isaac Cumming, left back pocket, heading to the left-hand side of your radio dial. Long, lengthy kick down the line is good. Hits Toby Murray right in front of the benches. Arcs around, spots something he likes in the 50. It's Thilthorpe, one out. Pushes off Bergman, takes the mark, plays on low, check side, no good. Across the face and through for a minor score. Rush of blood. Adelaide on the board first with a behind.
Would have loved to have seen him gone back and just owned the moment there, but oh well.
He certainly outbodied Bergman far too easily, and I think the matchup Alir on Walker higher up the ground is probably not the one that Port want.
Such a good set shot for goal, Riley Thilthorpe as well. So Darcy Byrne-Jones brings it in. Long kick towards centre wing. Georgiades up against Butts. Butts won the contest. Got it to Rankin. Back to Butts. Kicks inside the forward 50. McAndrew marks 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle right half forward.
Yeah, well, Toby Murray obviously takes that clunk out this side, and now McAndrew aerial presence ahead of the ball as well. So Thilthorpe's got one. All three of the talls have impact in the air, which is a positive sign for the Crows.
So McAndrew floating forward. What a big opportunity for a big moment in his young AFL career. Comes in 50 metres out, sets sail for home. It's got the journey, but away to the left, won't register a score. And Thilthorpe got two hands to that one. Normally he clunks those, but goes back out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in left forward pocket for Adelaide. They lead by a point 4 minutes into this showdown.
Bit of a lull before the energy really gets going. Packed house, sold out, tossed in. Crows 50, McAndrew down, does his own crumbing. Set upon by a couple of power players. And we'll get a ball up, 25 out from home. Adelaide by a point, 4 minutes in. Sweet taps it behind his head to Wines. Hard tackle as he hits the deck. Just spun to ground by Berry. Scott Thompson-esque. He's got the big biceps, the bald head. Pretty big shoes to fill. He's doing a good job. Sweet down. Straight into the path of Richards, who bangs it out of there. A panic kick, not going to go far. Was cut off by Worrell, not paid. Everybody stopped. Thought he had enough of that. Hit the deck. Chasing onto it was Whitlock. Knocks it forward for the Power. And now spun in the tackle was Georgiades holding the ball. Not sure if he had Pryor there. It's all happening at the moment.
That was a make-up call. No
Footy
doubt about
carver. Wayne Miller gets it. Little 1-2 with Michael Annie. And he'll move it to the eastern side. Adelaide by a point. It's showdown 59 on ABC Sport.
Goes to Butts, who handballs to Laird. Right up against the paint of the boundary line. Braden Cook takes the mark. Defensive side of centre wing, outer side of the ground. Bit of a lull, as you mentioned here. He sells some candy to get past Byrne-Jones. Takes a bounce, kicks down the line. Finds Murray, takes his second mark leading on the wing. This time at right half forward. Goes long inside the 50. Thilthorpe flew through his hands, roved by Richards. Handballs to Burgoyne. A scrub kick out of defence and a clever mark from Byrne-Jones. Knocked over by Cook, playing for the 50. Umpire says no. He's got the footy at left half back.
Port very lucky to get out of that one. Joe Richards saving the day with Rochelle without an opponent on that inside 50 entry for the Crows.
Voice of Lauren Arnell there on ABC Sport. Byrne-Jones' kick, no good. Wide 45, cutting it off is Peatling. Short pass back to Keys. Right half forward, he drills it low into the 50. Walker was on the march. Lockie Jones gets there in time. Ricochets out. Wines hands it off to Bergman. Now to McKinlay. It's a nice chain to the centre square. Thrusting into space, Drew was looking for Durden, has to barrel his way through Michael Annie, spills out though to Laird. Here come the Crows. Rochelle to Cumming at the attacking edge, into the 50, using the body on Alir. Thilthorpe couldn't reel it in though, but does get the free. Was behind Alir, and there's been a hold going his way, 20 out.
Didn't seem to be much in it, I wouldn't have thought, but there it is. Yeah, fair enough. Got to take this chance though. If you look at the flow of play, Crows have dominated the contest, but they need to put something on the scoreboard for it.
Just had a hold of the arm, Alir. Big task for him tonight. He loves to be the floating interceptor, but if he's matched up on Big Riley, he's got to lock him down. Thilthorpe The reigning showdown medalist comes in. It starts right, and it's a poor kick. Never a chance of coming back. It's the Crows by 2 early. No goals in the opening 6 minutes. Josh Money downstairs.
Dan Curtin on for his first minutes of the season. Go DC was the call from a lot of the Crows fans. Also watch James Peatling clearly running with Zach Butters. Lots of off-the-ball stuff already between them.
So Ware kicks it down the wing, looking for a target in Whitlock, but ball ace leads him to the footy, knocks it out over the boundary line.
And Crows dominant in forward half so far. 15 possessions in their front half compared to Port Adelaide's 3.
So the umpire taking his time out there on the outer wing, making sure the rucks are in the right spot. Throws it in. Clean bowls, both of them. Richards cleverly knocks it down to Drew. Quick kick forward to centre half forward. Sitting under it is Millerer up against Durden. Brings it to ground, gathers his own footy off to Saligo. Richards meets Neil Bullen in a heavy tackle. Cumming takes on another one, but clean enough to Peatling. Handballs wide to Pedler. He can take a bounce on centre wing. He dropped it for a moment, but it bounces back. Burgoyne for company for the moment. Lowers the eyes too low. And Aaliyah read it best. Takes the intercept mark at right half back.
A great chase from Jace Burgoyne and a super read from Aaliyah to peel off and take the intercept from away from Phil Thorpe.
Bergman now sends it to the eastern side. Willem Drew, defensive edge, left half back. Waiting for a runner. Crows have scouted it. He'll head up towards centre half forward. Horn Francis with the fly. Didn't come down with the footy. Laird paddles it out. Michael Annie's there for the Crows. Users coming, then Millerer. Now to defensive 50. Worrell with a bit of pressure gets his kick away. Running out to meet it, Rochelle. Bit too hot for him. Malia's at the back. Looking pretty good early, the defensive brick wall for the Power. Hands it to Burne-Jones. Lockie Jones, no pressure, goes for a run. Eventually draws Peatling, can release Burgoyne. It is a Friday night stroll for Port Adelaide and an easy entry onto the chest of Georgiades, 40 out, tight angle to the right.
No pressure, and doesn't matter who's defending him. Georgiades going to get that every day of the week.
We've talked a bit about Georgiades and his inaccuracy so far this season, but this is a wide spot close to the boundary, and typically I don't want to jinx him, but typically the spots he kicks them from. So
it's not a pressured spot, is it? You can sort of just release and have a crack at it.
4 goals, 6 last week. The milestone man in game 100, all the way out of Churchill's in WA. Mitch Georgiades in his century game hits it for 6 from 50.
Lauren Arnell calling it.
Port Adelaide with the first goal of the night. 1 straight 6. Adelaide 2 behinds. 9 played in the opening term. It's Showdown 59 on ABC Sport with Matthew Clark and Lauren Arnell.
I think the settler Port Adelaide really needed. It felt like these first few minutes were so much dominated in possession by the Crows and front half, and just the couple of a really strong defensive effort from Jace Burgoyne, a nice confident read from Aaliyah to come off Thilthorpe at the right moment, and then the kick inside 50 from Burgoyne again. Offensively and defensively on a wing is so important to them.
That's probably the first entry where the halfbacks, I mean, Miller has been great again across halfback, but if the pressure's not there through the midfield, those players don't come into it, and Georgiades is just going to have too much class if we can't get the pressure at a higher level than that.
Crows leading inside 57-2, but Port Adelaide get the first goal. Back in the middle of the ground, roved by Wines, gets it off to Jason Horne-Francis. His kick wasn't perfect, but Berry did well with Burgoyne. Berry to Horne-Francis now. He's taking his time. Good pressure here from Adelaide, forcing it back all the way to Josh Lai. His kick wasn't perfect, but it landed in the right spot for Drew at right half forward. He takes the mark. 60 from goal. Crows have flooded back. Kicks inside the forward 50. Flying at that one. Great grab. Ollie Wines floating back. Takes the mark 30 out on a 45-degree angle.
Plenty of healthy movement from the Port forwards. Murray sucked one high. Georgiades was on the move, and of all of the targets you think you go long to, Ollie Wines, he's almost the forgotten man so far at Port Adelaide this year, and just keeps producing quietly in the background.
It's a great view from up here, isn't it? You saw Georgiades ripped out, and he drew all the attention, and Wines just drops into a little pocket of space.
Similar angle to Georgiades' kick, so he would have had a sider a little bit closer. In comes the Brownlow medalist, and he's slotted it. Ollie Wines ensures Port go back-to-back They go 2 straight 12. Adelaide 2 behinds. That's a 10-point margin. 11 minutes gone in this first term.
Doc, how quickly do you send a message out to your high forwards? The Port Adelaide halfbacks are getting a lot of run and carry off that and handball overlap, which makes it really hard for your defenders. But Darcy Byrne-Jones, 4 possessions. Jace Burgoyne on a wing, 4. Bergman, 4.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that and probably that entry. So Pedlar's entry that was intercepted by Aliir, like that ball goes to the top of the square and that gives your forwards a chance to turn and press. But the high entry that gets intercepted, it's really hard to bring pressure on that ball.
What a luxury we've got in the box tonight. The only AFLW showdown coaches back together, Lauren Arnell and Matthew Clark on ABC Sport over at Docklands. Dogs by 25 in the second term. You can hear it on the AFL button through the Listen app. Port by 10 here. Crows yet to kick a goal, and out of the middle they come again. Vicentini down to Butters. Sweeping handball was errant though. Saligo cuts it off. Showdown medalist in his own right on return. Short pass to Rochelle, close to the boundary line. He'll flirt with it down the line. Philthorpe's caught behind Aliir again. Speaking of showdown medalists, he had one back in 21 and, geez, looking lively early as the brick wall for the Power.
Same play, though. If we can find a 15-metre kick there, that ball doesn't get intercepted.
Aliir back where it came from, looking for Vicentini. From behind, Toby Murray makes a contest of it. Head over the footy. Lockie Jones can't extract it. Bobbles its way to coming. Here come the Crows. They turn on a dime. Berry into the 50. Blazed away. Who is he kicking to? Long to Aliir. Backtracking close to the right back pocket. Dumps it out of there, and it should have been coming back in. Mark drop. Cumming has another bite at it. Gives it to Saligo. Wobbler back into the 50. It's a hit and hope. Philthorpe flies. Aliir's with him with another fist. Can't say his name enough. He's been involved heaps early. Port Adelaide's by 10.
Well, he's the leading possession winner for Port Adelaide now. Aliir, 5 possessions, 130 metres gained in the early stages of this first quarter.
Good signs from Saligo, though. A couple of times takes the ball and bursts out of traffic.
Got to work on that forward connection, Adelaide. Boundary thrown, winds the goal kicker, gathers, gets it to Farrell, who kicks it quickly out of defence. James Borlace, good mark behind Jack Whitlock, centre wing on the logo. Flicks it back to centre half back in Worrell. The switch is on. Didn't quite hit the target. Makes Michael only work for it. He knocked it to his teammate in Berry, who was immediately tackled. Ball in dispute. Going in head first was Pedlar. Did well, gathered the footy. Back to Laird, now to Berry. Right half forward. Kicks inside the forward 50 and Dan Curtin marks 50 from goal. Plays on quickly. Kicks it towards the top of the goal square. At the back of the pack was Murray. Put his hands in the back of Vicentini. Blindside was the umpire, so we'll have a boundary throw in. Left forward pocket for Adelaide. It's another inside 50. They've got 10 for the night against Port Adelaide's 3, but the Power have the 2 goals. They lead by 10 points.
10 entries without a major. Starts to play with you a bit. Will the damn well burst? Vicentini, the double tap down, looking for Horn Francis. Ricochet out to Butters. Bulldoze through. His handball a little hot. Coming through Byrne-Jones. Quickly tackled. Ball up to come 40 out. Adelaide getting their chances. Just needs some reward for the effort. Almost a mirror of Port Adelaide last week. Went on a tear against the Cats and just couldn't find the big sticks. Vicentini down to Butters. Throws it on the boot. It's a low dart. Not 15, but work towards Bond. Back into the 50 for Adelaide. Trying to use the body. Unable to get a fly is Curtin. Backtracking, Lockie Jones takes the mark. Top of the defensive goal square. That's an 11th entry for Adelaide without any sort of goal to their name. It's Port Adelaide by 10. We've played 14 minutes in the opening term on ABC Sport. Josh Lyatt, right half back. Kicks long down the line. A few flyers. One of those was Berry. Wines cleverly keeps it in, but kicked it straight to Worrell, who took on the tackler of Durden. Wow, David versus Goliath. Durden wraps him up holding the ball.
First showdown, first involvement. That's the type of involvement you want as a high half forward. Corey Durden, huge tackle.
So Durden asked to play on. Worrell tries to get one back. He throws it on the left boot. And just in the rush, the pressure, Toby Murray takes the intercept mark, left half back. This is a dangerous ball in the middle of the ground. Went through the hands of Drew. Keys wrapped it up. Handballs to Rochelle. Got space now out on the wing for Cook. Takes the mark. Lowers the eyes. Kicks towards left half forward. Pedlar marks. He's within range. Does he try to find a target?
He's got this kick in him, but it's unfortunate that for all these entries we haven't really seen much quality at this point. So we're getting shots from 50, we're getting shots from wide angles. Let's hope he can knock one over and get us back into this contest, eh?
So he was good last week in a big loss, Luke Pedlar. He's going to take a kick of 55. He launches from outside 50, and you can hear the roar. That's a big goal from Luke Pedlar. And boy, did they need it. Finally finding some fruit from all those inside 50s. Puts the Crows on the board there. 1-2-8. Port a 2 straight 12. Quickly down on the boundary, Josh Money.
Taylor Walker just having a little bit of work done on his right hip, so small concern on the Crows bench. I will say I've seen him had some work done on in a number of games this year already, so clearly something that he's carrying and managing. I'll let you know how he goes.
Well, we talked about Luke Pedlar in the pre-game, Doc, and such an impressive finish on his left foot. Can't believe the inside 50 stats. Port Adelaide ahead on the scoreboard by a narrow margin, but 12 inside 50s to the Crows to 3 for Port Adelaide, and you just get the sense now with the Crows winning the ball at half-back and midfield turnover, the more they switch out that far side of the ground, they're getting a free run at it, and more often they're not finding it forward all by themselves.
Yeah, the Murray kick was dangerous, but it did open the game up.
Unlike Port Adelaide this season as well, they've been methodical moving the ball. Bit casual here. Out of the middle, Horn Francis surges out, kicks towards the 50. Flying forward, Whitlock couldn't take it. Tackle laid. You get a ball up, 20 from home. No, it's home the ball. Gee, that hit the deck. Bond picked it up, was set upon immediately. That is a rough call, and Corey Durden's going to get a set shot. Where was the prior?
Yeah, that's a challenging call, but the centre bounce work wasn't at the level. And if we look at last week's performance, it came out of the middle where Brisbane got dominant. So they'll have to have a look at that one. That wasn't great.
Bond took it out of the air, and as he planted his feet, was tackled. What's he supposed to do? Crows fans unhappy. Corey Durden won't mind. The Golden Grove lad who's back in his home state. Slow approach from 45. Durden straight line from 30. Port Adelaide with the response, and he keeps trotting forward into Bond as well. Little bit of feeling in showdown 59. Little hip and shoulder. Port by 10 once again. 3 straight 18 to 1-2-8. Approaching time on in the first term on ABC Sport.
We mentioned the centre bounce work, or centre ball up work, Doc, and Vicentini's tap down Horn Francis' throat, and really no defensive turn up at all from the Crows.
Yeah, no, so Saligo got beaten at ground level, but a little bit of that one's on the ruck. I reckon that came out a bit too clean.
Tough call up forward on Bond.
Yeah, that was a bad. I mean, that was a bad call.
That's no other way to say it.
But if you let the ball get to 25 metres out, you're going to get a couple of those.
So back in the middle of the ground, Port Adelaide with the immediate response, and Durden, well, he's laid a couple of big tackles already. That one results in a goal. Leading by 10 points, Sweet knocked that forward again. Saligo's there to mop it up though, gets it to Rankin. Working their way backwards to go forwards to Laird, to Peatling. He kicks out towards the wing and hits a target in Keys. So just forward of centre wing, Keys plays on now. There's another inside 50 for Adelaide up towards Tex, who's back on the ground. It goes to ground, and there's a Jordan Sweet took on the tackle there. No holding the ball. The ball comes out of Port's defence. Whitlock gathers for the time being. Handball's over the top towards Moraes. Worrell was good. He won it back. That looked like a throw against Whitlock to Moraes. They're not getting the rub of the green, the home fans in Adelaide. Butters gets to Farrell at the centre square.
We love a consistently inconsistent umpiring quartet here at the Adelaide Oval. Short pass to Willem Drew, squeezes the kick up to Barry. Porter on the march here. He zigs his way past Toby Murray and breaks away from Neil Bullen. It's too easy for the youngster. Hands it to Richards, heading to Vicentini. Kick was long, and it tumbles its way into the left forward pocket.
Do you think are the Crows fans engaged in the contest? Or? Yeah.
Heel is shoulder to shoulder. There isn't a spare space. And they're locked in right now, the Adelaide Crows. Currently down by 10. We've got 5 to play in the first quarter. Tossed in, Port's 50. Sweet Hollywood tap over his head, straight to Butters. Bang! Tackled by Miller, and he kind of leapt into the air, Butters, trying to draw a free, and they ended up pancaking onto the deck. Gee, that was a hard landing. We keep going again, though. Quick reset. Sweet down. Berry tackled by Miller, spun to the ground more softly this time. That was a gentle touch. Still 20 from home, Port's 50. Dangerous areas near the Riverbank stand.
Sweet knocks it down. Horn Francis came flying through, took Miller with him. Miller has got the footy now. Quick kick around the body, out of the defence. The Port Adelaide halfbacks are rushing up the ground. Farrell's there, lies there too. It's brought Taylor Walker up to this part of the ground, and we'll have a ball up at centre half forward for Port Adelaide. They're leading by 10 points. Sweet knocks it down. Try to take his own ball again. Bit of tunnel ball, and the umpire saw that one. And you can hear the crowd. They're pretty happy with that. Worrell wins the free kick, goes shanking barely the 15. But he'll have it at right half back for the Crows, who trail by 10 points.
Bulldogs by 25 at Docklands as well. You can hear it on the AFL button through ABC Listen. Rankin up the eastern side, looking for Keys. Flew with Marshall off hands. Sweet at the back door. Just jammed it on the boot. Up towards Jacob Ware. Checks the kick. Whitlock back with the flight. Just an awkward landing. He's really hit his hip on the deck. He just tried to track it. Didn't really have the eyes for the foot. He did very well to reel it in, but it caught him off balance, and he's bobbed up to take the mark. But the youngster, that was a harsh hit.
I think we can see a lot of Port Adelaide's preparation in that play. Like, they know the Crows like to chip it around in their back half. They've set up well for that intercept, and then as soon as you can get your hands on the footy, play fast back at them, which we saw Jordan Sweet, the little toe poke forward, worked for him. And Whitlock, very, very clever footballer to tick out the back quickly and take this mark.
Very tight angle near the Rashudo stand. Man on the marks, 40 out. Jack Whitlock strides in, leans back on the kick. It's going to be close. Through for a minor score on the right. Port Adelaide by 11. 22 played first term. 3-1-19 to 1-2-8. Showdown 59 on ABC Sport.
They play on quickly through Rankin. Down the line looking for Thilthorpe, and Marshall comes through. Knocks it out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in.
This is the first period that's got a bit of the look of last week about it. They've got it ball in their half, and they're setting up beautifully, Port Adelaide. So they'd be pretty comfortable with how things are shaping up in this last 3 or 4 minutes.
So 23 minutes gone in this first term. Port leading by 11 points. Sweet cleverly knocks it down to Drew, who steps aside, kicks inside the forward 50. No forward connection there, because went all the way back to Borlace, who was on his own in the back pocket, the right back pocket, and he's clearing kick finds Toby Murray take his 4th mark of the night.
Yeah, his aerial's been good, but his ruck contest over the last 5 minutes has been a bit of a worry. Sweet's been pretty dominant with the hands, so we need him to get in the fight in the ruck.
Down the line, Lai with a huge fly, unrealistic as he launched over Vicentini and landed hard. At the fall of the footy, Cook's handball wayward. Marshall paddles it back for Port Adelaide. Ware now off a step, hits it up towards the attacking edge. Pack collapses and off hands it comes out. Worrell for the Crows to Neil Bullen, nearly collected. Jeez, Farrell could have absolutely cooked him there. Pulled out after a heavy hit, running from behind. Free kick, Neil Bullen. Gets it to Laird, then Worrell. They're running out of time, the Crows want to go. Bond up towards left half forward, rushed it. Might bounce fortuitously, though, for Tex. Bounce between both Lai and Bergman, and Walker's knocked it out and may have actually kicked it in the process off the shin, so it's going to be a last disposal free kick.
This part of the rule drives me absolutely bananas, Doc, and I know it's been in W forever and a day, but the last touch when it's off a shin shouldn't be a free kick.
Kick down the line for Port Adelaide towards the logo. Ball in dispute. At the bottom of the pack is Murray. He's dived on that, and Burgoyne dives on him. That's an easy one to pay for the umpire, and he'll win the free kick. Ooh. And that is very lucky. Murray's just thrown that on the ground, right in front of the umpire.
Must have been a hand in there, I suppose.
So he goes short to Wines. Kicking inside the forward 50. Vicentini flies a little bit early. Goes out over the back. Joe Berry's there. Almost tackled off the foot. He gathers. Stripped by Miller. A socket off the ground by Ware into the post. Almost a great opportunist goal from the wingman. But hits the woodwork. They go to 3-2-20. Adelaide 1-2-8. 25 minutes gone first turn.
They'll need a late surge, or they'll have 7 consecutive first quarters where they've lost to the Adelaide Crows. Down 12. Miller up, searching kick to the broadcast wing. Murray from behind makes a contest. Does enough to knock it front and square to Rankin. Running out of room as he heads towards the benches. His kick across the body only finds Bergman.
Tex yet to touch the pill, but as we mentioned in the pre-game, he can have a rough start and end up winning you the game late, so he'll just have to fight through this.
Jeremy Cameron last week kept him to 3 after a hot start, Miles Bergman, and now he's got Taylor Walker tonight. The kick, a long one, just to hit and hope, and Adelaide were well set, but gee, what was that? High drop, jammed it, and it's going to work. Toby Murray gets there late as Burne-Jones doesn't really commit, expecting it to go over the boundary line. Adelaide are going to get a shot here. Murray inside on the 45. Finds Taylor. Wants to play on through the logo. Towards the 50 he heads. Shallow drop. Alia with a monster fist. Just thumps it towards the boundary line. and it will be tossed in on the pain of 50. Closing stages of the first term, it's Port by 12 in Showdown 59. Taylor Walker had a slow start against Callum Wilkie a few weeks ago and went on a tear, so don't write off the champion just yet.
So he's back on the bench with Riley Thilthorpe, so they'll need to find another avenue to goal. Boundary throw-in, Sweet took it out of the ruck. He's been doing that a lot tonight, Doc. Quick kick down the line. It's Butts and Georgiades gets out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw-in. He's really using that to his advantage, isn't he?
Oh, he's a strong player, obviously. McAndrew's got the reach, but it's a stronger body. He's been in the system a lot longer.
So boundary throw-in again at the logo. McAndrew knocks this one down. Peatling running onto it, decides to keep it in, gets it back to Millerer, gets past the Wines tackle, handballs back to Sam Berry, kicks down the line, flying at that one is Pedler. Burn Jones gets the fist in, trying to rove it was Rankin, got a bad bounce. Drew gets it to Butters, kicks down the line, and that one's going to go out of bounds on the full.
Port's defenders, sorry Tom, just doing a really good job of outnumbering in the air. I think when it goes long down the line, which the Crows like, just the commitment to peel off and help out your teammates been very good from Port's halfbacks.
Berry thumps it long up to left half forward, and that'll do us for the quarter, and we might have a bit of stoush here as well. In that contest, Lockie Jones just bowls over Luke Pedler, the two bulls, head to head, not quite nose to nose yet, but there's been a little couple of spot fires that leads us to believe that maybe we've got a pretty big affair coming your way for Showdown 59. Port Adelaide lead at the first change, 3-2-20 to 1-2-8. Goal scorers all individual: Durden, Georgiades, Wines and Pedler. And the Crows 1-7 in first terms in 2026. Text line tonight 0437 774 774. There is another game on as well. The Western Bulldogs lead by 19 heading to half-time against the Dockers at Docklands. Their goal scorers so far in that game: 2 to West, Switkowski and Norton. Singles to Vandermeer, Richards, McNeil, Lewis, Jackson, Frederick, Erasmus and Dudley, and Bontempelli as well. So high-scoring affair there. Not so much here. 4 goals in the first term. Josh Carr won't mind with the early advantage. Up by 12 at the first break on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen. This is Showdown 59 on ABC Sport.
Why do we collect things? And how much is too much? Join me, Annabelle Crabb, as I venture into the secret stacks of the State Library of New South Wales and discover that most of the collection isn't books at all. Search for the History or Hoarding podcast on ABC Listen.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Hands it to Burn Jones. Lockie Jones, no pressure, goes for a run. Eventually draws Peatling, can release Burgoyne. It is a Friday night stroll for Port Adelaide and an easy entry onto the chest of Georgiades, 40 out, tight angle to the right. 4 goals, 6 last week. The milestone man in game 100. All the way out of Churchill's in WA. Mitch Georgiades in his century game hits it for 6 from 50.
Drew it right half forward. He takes the mark. Kicks inside the forward 50, flying at that one, great grab. Ollie Wines floating back, takes the mark 30 out on a 45-degree angle. In comes the Brownlow medalist, and he's slotted it. Ollie Wines ensures Port go back-to-back. Toby Murray takes intercept mark, left half back. This is a dangerous ball in the middle of the ground, went through the hands of Drew. Keys wrapped it up. Handballs to Rochelle, got space now out on the wing for Cook, takes the mark. Lowers the eyes, kicks towards left half forward, Pedler marks. He's within range. He's going to take a kick of 55. He launches from outside 50, and you can hear the roar. That's a big goal from Luke Pedler. And boy, did they need it, finally finding some fruit from all those inside 50s.
Going forward with what couldn't take it. Tackle laid. Get a ball up, 20 from home. No, it's home the ball. Gee, that hit the deck. Bond picked it up, was set upon immediately. That is a rough call. And Corey Durden's going to get a set shot. Where was the prior? Crows fans unhappy. Durden straight line from 30. Port Adelaide with the response, and he keeps trotting forward into Bond as well. A little bit of feeling in Showdown 59.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Port Adelaide with the early advantage despite it being an Adelaide Crows home game, and they came in as the favourites as well, the home side. They're down by 12 at the first change, 3-2-20 to the Crows, 1-2-8. It's been a slow affair. hasn't been the best brand of footy so far, but you feel like it's building towards something very special tonight. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson with you for Showdown 59 on ABC Sport. Our experts, former Showdown coaches who were head-to-head, and now they get to analyse the game in the box. Lauren Arnell and Matthew Clark. What did we make of that first term, team?
Well, Doc, it's pretty high turnover quarter when you look at it, but I think Port Adelaide overall just were able to capitalise when the ball went inside 50 far more than the Crows, and you mentioned that through the quarter, the inefficiency on the inside 50 entries and perhaps the disorganisation at times from the Crows forwards.
Yeah, well, I think, for the first 15 minutes of the game, I was going, the intensity's high, lots of repeat entries, but the quality of those entries is what cost them ultimately. And if you go back to the very first one, probably one of the better entries, Thilthorpe takes that catch. It's probably time to settle the game and put your mark on it. But concerningly, the back half of the quarter belonged to Port. Alir was outstanding. Miller at the other end did a similar job, but in the back half, the quality of Port's entries started to lift and they got their better looks.
And we heard during the quarter as well that Tex Walker went off and had his hamstring checked, I believe, and looked to be beaten a couple of times pretty comprehensively, particularly by Bergman at the back end of the quarter.
Might just check in on that, Josh. Walk us through the quarter for Taylor Walker and how he's ended up without a touch.
Yes, definitely struggling. Whether it's hamstring or right hip, it's an area that I've seen him work on a number of times. So had a fair amount of work with the physios on the bench working on that hip area. Came back onto the ground for maybe a minute and a half. It was quite comprehensively beaten in a marking contest, or didn't really get to the contest with Miles Bergman. Came straight off the interchange with 30 seconds to go, shaking his head, clearly not happy. Ripped the strapping off his wrist. So no indication yet that he's done for the game. We saw him only play 50% game time at the Gabba last weekend. So we know he's 36 years young, certainly managing his minutes at the moment and not very happy. So he is a big watch in this second quarter.
So was in the huddle, didn't look overly engaged, a bit dejected to be
starting
honest.
On the bench as well now.
And Max Michaelani's just given him a little cuddle as well. So you do wonder if we might have seen the last of Tex for tonight, Loz.
If that's an out for tonight, this early in a showdown, that's enormous, particularly without just the on-field leadership of Jordan Dawson out there. We spoke pre-game about Tex and his influence.
And similarly, obviously we spoke about Dan Curtin potentially being on managed minutes as well. So even though we've got 5 on the bench, you don't want to be losing them at this stage. And probably more importantly, the functionality of that forward line. That was the issue for the Crows in the first quarter, and probably your most, without doubt, your smartest forward is now sitting on the pine.
Are we making the call, Josh? What have you seen down there?
He's on the back bench, which we know is normally not a very good sign at all. So all signs at the moment point to Taylor Walker being out of Showdown 59 for the remainder of the game.
Massive.
Big storyline early as the Adelaide Crows look to come back from a 2-goal deficit. Port Adelaide by 12 early. Josh Carr will be humming right now. Never lost as a player. Can he do the same as a coach? McAndrew wins the first tap of the second quarter. Down to McKinlay, though, for the power. Gives it to Horn Francis, who weaves his way to the eastern side. Trying to place his kick to Berry a little long, and Laird will edge him out of it. Well, scouted there by Rory Laird, who understands that the kick will roll and be a last disposal free kick. So the veteran gets it near the Odie stand. Shout out to Shane and Elwood on the text line, who's enjoying the call, loving Doc Clark being part of the team as well. Long kick up to left half forward. They're looking for Thilthorpe. Got a hand to it. Couldn't quite control it. When Francis was lurking and gathers. Releases Butters. Disposal number 8 incoming. As he takes a bounce. Tucks it under one arm through the eastern side. And then swings it inboard with a short pass. Here's Logan Evans on the logo. He'll head back wide. Mark taken by Butters again.
So assessing his options here. Plays on now. Pops one up inside the forward 50. Just saw Wines floating forward. Just missed the target, but we'll get one coming back in right half forward.
You mentioned Butters seemingly copping a tag from Peatling early in that first quarter. Is the highest disposal winner for Port Adelaide so far with the 9, and we're seeing a lot of forward handball from stoppage from Port, which is just starting to open the game up.
Boundary throw in right half forward. McAndrew wins it down. Roving was Joe Berry for Port Adelaide. Gets it to that man, Butters. His kick was partially smothered by Laird. Then he goes to Soccer. It lands inside the paint. Was it already out of bounds? It's going to be a free kick against. Maybe kicking in danger. Wayne Miller has got it at left half back for Adelaide. They're trailing by 12 points, a minute and a half into this second term.
Driving kick. It's a boom up towards the logo. Pedler tried to go for the spec. He didn't get the airtime. Keys waiting for the drop. Hands it to Pedler. Then out wide to Peatling. On the left. Tries to guide it up towards Leo Bullen. Speared out of the air. by Kane Farrell, and we'll get a boundary throw in near the Rashudo stand.
And Doc, now the question becomes who goes forward, and it looks like Toby Murray's going to have to spend a lot more time forward than he planned for without Tex out there.
Yeah, the aerial up the ground's been great. Can he take a catch closer to goal?
Port by 12, tossed in, McAndrew down, Wines there. He's matched up against Rankin, but got his handball away to Butters, trying to get it back to him. Cook floats in front, gets tackled for his troubles. Still left half forward for the Crows as we get a ball up. On the reset, McAndrew down 2-0 Bullen, check side entry. Just dumps it in, bounces a little shallow. Thilthorpe, it's a high one. Alir gets a hand to it. Lockie Jones lost his feet. Coming through, Saligo's barreled over the boundary line. 10 out from goal, left forward pocket. Josh Money downstairs.
So the Crows are saying it's a hamstring injury for Taylor Walker. So if that's a minor strain, that's 2 to 3 weeks, you'd think, without Tex at least.
Trip to Brisbane not seeming like a great idea.
Real worry there for Taylor Walker. And in the ruck contest was knocked straight down to Isaac Rankin, and his kick was partially smothered. Then Keys had a flying shot on goal. His kick was blocked by Bergman. He gets the handball away to Evans, kicks down the line, looking for Georgiades, who roved best. Handballs over the top to Richards. They're quick, Port Adelaide. He takes 2 bounces. Hugo Bond is chasing. He takes a 3rd bounce, and he took on the tackle of Bond. Later tackle, handball towards Farrell. It was Berry, in fact. The kick goes inside the forward 50, looking for Georgiades. Throws a boot at it. Almost gathered by Miller. He's under pressure, but he's cool and calm. Gets it to Neil Bullen, and his escape kick finds Toby Murray.
Just doesn't have the overlap yet, but Adelaide look like they're moving the ball well. Pedler, right half back, close to the boundary line. Methodical as he moves it down. Kick up to McAndrew, right in front of the benches. Port by 12. We haven't had a score in this second term. McAndrew up to right half forward, 2-on-2 there. It clears the pack. Keys turns and goes. First to it is Burn-Jones, though. Did well under pressure. Links up with Bergman, and now some time to think about his exit. Heads to left half back. Sweet was the target. Nearly got through to him. Tackled for his troubles off the fingertips. Pedler brings him down. Ball up to come close to the boundary line. Port by 12.
Thilthorpe competing hard, but the quality of the ball coming into him is just not at the level yet.
So a throw up there. McAndrew knocks it down, but Wines gathers. Handballs over the top of his head, and Saligo's wrapped up immediately by Butters. Is coming, in fact, at the bottom of the pack. We'll have another ball up in the same spot. Sweet wins it down this time straight to Horn Francis, who bursts through, kicks an underground ball up towards Visentini. He was behind Worrell, and he was holding him. So a big defender for the Crows wins the free kick. Kicks it back towards centre half back. It was dangerous for a moment, but Bond had it covered easily.
Bond not shaken or stirred as he heads out to left half back. Been waiting for a while to use that one, was. Butts has it.
He's done very well to sneak that in there.
Uses Pete Ling and now Miller a defensive edge. Heads up to the logo to Neil Bullen. Again, Adelaide pinpoint passing. Now the entry, which is again a dump kick. Up towards us, 5-on-5. Thilthorpe will fly. Fans Burgoyne. Kick only carries about 5 metres to Bergman. Takes it out of the air and loops the handball overhead. Strolling through, Horn Francis gets it to Evans. Port Adelaide now on the counter punch. Have a bit of a surge here. Tucking it under one arm, Berry. Bit off more than he could choose. Wrapped up by his counterpart in Sam Berry. Did get it away though in the handball chain to Butters. Port Adelaide have made it work. Horn Francis, bullet pass into the 50, and Georgiades rides out of the goal square to take the mark. Wasn't pretty, but they got it done. Port Adelaide with a set shot to come.
It's pretty good ball movement from Port Adelaide, and this forward handball game, it's almost haphazard. It looks like an absolute plan tonight against the Crows. And if you're a mid for the Crows around congestion, I think you just got to check your spacing. They're getting sucked in, and that forward handball is just relentlessly spitting forward, and Port are ready for it and absolutely getting opportunities in this second quarter.
It was pick 18 7 years ago, Mitch Georgiades, now in game 100. Looking for his second of the night. Will kick from 45. It's low and hard and wide left.
Yeah, let off there. But the quality of the entry, as Loz highlighted, the forward handball releases the player into space, and he's facing goal, no pressure, and Georgiades is going to get that every day of the week.
Port Adelaide by 13 points, 6 played, second term on ABC Sport.
Worrell from the kick in, up towards Borlace, who took the mark in front of Georgiades. That's a tough task, so well done. Plays on quickly, down the line looking for Thilthorpe, brings it to ground. Free kick against the Lear for a hold. Plays on quickly, Thilthorpe. They're trying to beat them at their own game. Goes inside the forward 50, hits the deck. Rochelle was clever, tapped it to himself, but missed. He rarely misses those. It was genius. Right away to the left-hand side with a dribble kick. 1-3-9, Port 3-3-21, 7 minutes gone, second term.
A name we haven't heard called enough yet is Rochelle, so how do we get him into the game more? Can we get him up around the ball?
Matthew Clark saying we as a former Crow. Lauren Arnell's here trying to balance it out with the Port Adelaide side of things. Logan Evans plays on from the defensive goal square, heads to Bergman, right back pocket. Port looking for an exit. Butters does well, threads the needle out wide, and Josh Lai has some time. Flares it up towards Georgiades, uses the body to bounce off ball A's, but can't take the mark. Did well to crunch Worrell, or did he? Didn't quite have the footy. And a free kick coming back for the Crows as Port looked like they were away. So Odie stands, Adelaide Crows ball. Joe Penner's got in touch on the text line from... Joe Penner, rather, has got in touch from Mount Wedge on the West Coast. Says it's disappointing that they can't watch the game tonight as a result of the overlap. Country footy supporters being left behind. We've got you, Joe. Listen up, ad-free every game. Neil Bullen towards the 50. Thilthorpe flew through his hands. Keys out the back door. Pounces from 40 and hits it. Adelaide gets their second. Straight into the Riverbank stand. Margin down to 6. 3-3-21 Port Adelaide. Adelaide 2-3-15. 8 played. Second term for Showdown 59. Your experts Lauren Arnell and Matthew Clark.
Just a shout out for Riley Thilthorpe. I don't even know if he's got a possession this quarter, but his contest is at the level. The quality of the ball in isn't elite, but he's able to bring the ball to ground, and that creates that opportunity, and we finally get a result.
And a good finish from Keys. I think the other one for the Crows who's standing up in the contest is Josh Worrell.
Yeah.
He's had the 8-9 touches now and really is becoming potentially the most important defender behind the ball for Adelaide. And
yeah, I think in combination with Miller, those two are saving the day on many occasions.
Ben Keys reminded Zach Butters of that goal. I think Butters was running forward and just got caught napping for a moment, which is rare for Zach Butters. McAndrew tries to take it out of the rucky. Really missed his kick, but it fell in the lap of Sam Berry, who kicks up inside the forward 50. Alira is at the front, brings it to ground. There's the goal kicker, and Keys, he took on the tackle. What a great effort from Lockie Jones. He went the fend off, but he had the bear hug holding the ball.
Such a good tackle from Jones, and a reliable guy, you know, in showdowns with contested moments. He's going to show up.
Jones from left half back kicks down the line, and McAndrew drops the mark. Ball goes to ground. Berry tries to gather, gets it out to Cook.
Got a bit of space to work with. It's a low bouncer that skids towards Thilthorpe. Gorgeous on the half volley as he takes it. Releases Pedlar. Central to Neil Bullen. Left the footy behind deliberately so he'd be tackled and get the free kick. Didn't get it. Spills out and Rochelle misses to the left. They'll be incensed at the Adelaide Oval. Neil Bullen with the game sense to leave it behind isn't rewarded. And as a result, it is just the minus score. Matthew Nix tries to hold it in the coach's box. It's Port Adelaide by 5 in the second term.
Rochelle could have handballed that to Curtin in the goal square as well.
Yeah, Josh, unlike him, to miss 2 opportunities in a short space of time.
So Murray's asked to play on, goes short to Burn-Jones, left half back. You can see and hear the Crows fans. They're frustrated. They're out of their seats. Crows are trailing by 5 points back in this match. Kicks down the line. Worrell goes the fly. Quick kick from Drew. Could have been in danger. Ended in the hands of Sam Berry. Goes back to Max Michaelani all the way to Jordan Butts at right half back. Lowers the eyes looking for Worrell. Dangerous kick. Whitlock fisted into the middle of the ground. Neil Bullen read it best though. Through the hands of Berry. Dropped the ball. Dangerous position. Gathered by Port Adelaide. Murray's got it to Whitlock. His kick is intercepted though by Worrell. He gets it to Peatling. That's a better option as Max Michaelani gathers in the centre square. Kicks towards Thilthorpe and it's a terrible one straight over his head. He was all alone, Doc.
Yeah, it's a rinse and repeat, unfortunately.
21 entries for 2 goals for the Adelaide Crows. Port Adelaide with the lead by 5 at the moment. Berry at right half back, swings it through defensive 50. Alia wants to go up the spine, has to place it well. Wines gets there in time. Rochelle bowls him over for his effort. Won't get a 50 though. Ollie Wines, true centre half back over at Docklands halftime there. The Dogs by 14 over the Dockers. They've led all night. They were up by 26, but Freo kicked 3 of the last 4. Marcus Bontempelli having a day out as well. He's got 22 and a goal. Porter moved it to the broadcast wing in front of the benches. Burgoyne casually leans back, puts it up to a 2-on-2. Whitlock front position. Couldn't get the mark. Berry tries to stand through the Drew tackle, but lets it go late. Shoots out Moraes. Tries to get it back to Whitlock. May have caught one high as he put his head through Worrell. No whistle. Berry thumps it out of there. Courageous from Horne-Francis. Put his body on the line on the drop. Phil Thorpe was coming from behind. Takes the contested grab forward to the logo, and the Hornet will move wide. Pass to Jacob Ware.
Just an important moment in the contest right now. We've seen the Crows with all the momentum and winning contests around the ground without capitalising, and now Port the opportunity to go inside 50.
That's what they do, and flying at that one from the back of the pack was sweet.
Let's have another look at that one, can we?
Man in front, you think, Doc?
Yeah, I thought we had that one. Crows had that one, I should say.
So Horne-Francis, they're just showing a replay for a moment, and he's just got one in the back, and Ware went inside the forward 50, and from the back...
Millerer.
So Millerer had 2 hands on it at the front as well, and he's having a complaint to the umpire.
Yeah, but Jason Horne-Francis starting to work into the game. He probably wasn't involved that heavily in the first quarter, and that is a concern.
Jordan Sweet kicked an unbelievable banana last week. This will take a kick of 35 metres and a drop punt, and it just went away to the left. Might have just touched the post at the top. So a minus score. They go to 3-4-22. Adelaide 2-4-16, 13 and a half minutes gone in this second term. Dangerous kick in.
Worrell missed his target in Miller, pouncing on it. Georgiades skids one central, didn't quite work. Neil Bullen's there, put his body on the line and rode the contact of Butters. Won the footy, got it to Pedler. Back to Miller, now a fumble from Peatling. Meant the Port Adelaide players could close in a little bit. Pedler's in the phone box, gets it back to Miller. Kicks a little dicey. Alia comes through with the fist. Knocked back towards Pedler. The Crow bouncing off 2 bodies. Can't find his target with the handball. And it will be a last disposal free kick to Port Adelaide.
Pressure showing. There's some fumbling going on out there, but it's obviously a hot ball.
Zach Butters for disposal 14. Port by 6. Butters wants to concede some ground to get some space. Long kick to centre half back. Bergman now for the switch. Heads across to Darcy Byrne-Jones.
We've just seen this from Port Adelaide so far this year, just an ability to find possession and kick the ball around, which perhaps in previous years they haven't done.
So that was a low ball for Richards, who took it on the gather. He's claiming the mark. The umpire says no. Touch the deck.
One from Byrne-Jones too. He kicks those 9 out of 10 and just undersold it for Joe Richards.
So Visentini knocks it down to Drew, goes again. Neil Bullen's in there, took on the first tackle of Richards. Visentini wraps him up on the logo. We'll do it again. It's not just pressure for the players, but pressure for the umpires too here. Moraes tries to run through. It's met by a tackle. Handball gets out to Richards though, and Farrell and Georgiades nearly ran into each other. And as Farrell regathers, he's wrapped up by Neil Bullen. We're back in the middle of the ground for another ball up. Port Adelaide leading by 6 points halfway through the second term.
Toby Murray down to Rankin, who was charging through the stoppage but left the footy behind. Bounces off a couple of hands back to Murray, who's wrapped up. We'll go again. Centre square, quick reset. Vicentini down, bounces off the bootlaces of Berry. Head over at Rankin, got the handball out to Cook. Saligo races towards the Odie stand, hooks it across the body. The kick's good. Well weighted to Thilthorpe. He just joined us. No Taylor Walker, hamstring injury in the first term. So Thilthorpe now looks to a forward line without its stars. Pedler's the target. Went for the hanger again early. Stuck a knee into the back of Logan Evans. Wasn't really anywhere near the drop. Clears the pack and over the boundary line.
Really important connection to Thilthorpe. Whoever plays on a Lear, you have to be able to hit up through them. Otherwise, he just dominates the game in that drop-off role.
Voice of Matthew Clark, Lauren Arnell, your experts on ABC Sport. Port by 6, Adelaide inside 50. Vicentini with the tap, only found Berry. Tries to bulldoze through 4, but he can't break free. He flung it out. Toby Murray with the check side goal. But the umpire saw it. But he's actually pinged him holding the ball.
Yep.
So a free kick, Port Adelaide. It should have been there.
Yeah, it was the right call, but the locals are not going to be happy with it.
And poor Toby Murray misses out on his first major in footy. Free kick, Port in the right back pocket. Pedler just didn't know what to do.
Why did it take so long to blow the whistle? I'm sorry.
At least he made the right call, Tom. We've just got to The bar's low at the moment. We'll just give them the credit for that.
They maybe went up to the arc to work it out. So Richards has it at left half back, switches the play to Farrell. He's deeper inside the 50. And this is a dangerous ball to centre half back to Aaliyah. Goodness me. Found him though. 1 against 3. Handball's off to Moraes. He can't work out what he wants to do, so chips towards Bergman. He takes it off the bounce. Handball back to Richards at left half back. Back to Bergman. So a bit of waxing here from Port Adelaide. Short to Moraes.
So Lauren mentioned this style, and they've definitely got 2 modes. So there's this control the ball, and then they'll go into the forward handball, bring speed at the opposition. So good to see a team that's got some adaptability in the way they're going about it.
So Whitlock brought it to ground. Handball to Visentini to Burgoyne. Now Horne-Francis centres the ball, and the only person there was Ben Keys from the Adelaide Crows Footy Club. And he marks it centre half back, takes the intercept.
Speaking of adaptability, Todd Marshall's been thrown forward, which I don't think Horne-Francis saw. He had his opponent one out towards the goal square, and Horne-Francis tried to kick a cross goal instead.
Just the 1 goal in the second quarter of Showdown 59. Emblematic of 2 sides who are lower on the ladder in terms of inside 50 retention. Kick down the line, free kick on the drop. Thilthorpe against Aaliyah. Hold going the way of Port Adelaide. Going to give it to Josh Lai, and Aaliyah gets stuck into Thilthorpe for it. Lai bangs it back where it came from. Right half forward. Georgiades is there. Ball ace comes late with a fist. Didn't get a lot of contact though, up and down. Laird, the sitting duck, waits for the footy and then brought down.
I'll assume Marshall's gone forward because Walker's out of the game. What they'll try and do now, Port Adelaide, is stretch the tall defenders from the Crows. Force one of them to play short.
And in the ruck contest, the umpire's taken a fall. Visentini with the tap over the boundary line. He pops up with a wry smile as the crowd gets stuck in.
So I think it's Cook that's had to go to Georgiades. Is that right?
That doesn't sound good.
Butts on Marshall. Ball ace to Whitlock.
Tossed in right half forward. Port by 6. Visentini with the double tap to Horne-Francis. Shoots the handball out towards Ware. Fancy footwork, but can't sell the candy into Cook. Pushed off his kick into the 50, and Miller gets in the hole to cut it off for the Crows. He wants to go quick with the switch. Has some options. Heads across the goal face to Butts. Plenty of acres to walk into and then drive the kick to the one-on-one. Taylor engages with Jones early and holds him. Why did he do that? Free kick, Port Adelaide right in front of the benches. Lockie Jones has it. These 2 players both taken in the 2020 draft, but it was Pedler who went ahead of Jones. Ladders won that match up there. Short pass into Moraes. Stinky kick to Drew. Didn't quite work. Knocked out to Farrell. Missed his kick in the tackle. And Neil Bullen. No whistle. Berry's there though. Mops it up for the Crows. Here they come on the surge. Keys to Rankin. Plenty of pace, but had to stop and prop with a couple of power plays around him. Waits and then kicks down the line to Pedler. Left half forward. Not a lot ahead. Thilthorpe's outnumbered. He'll have to hit him well. Waited it for the backdrop. And running with the flight. Thilthorpe just couldn't reel it in. Off hands. Over the boundary line, left forward pocket.
Outstanding kick from Rankin to find him in that pocket of space, unbelievable. But yeah, they have stretched the Crows down back. We've got McElhaney having to play on Whitlock at this stage by the looks of it.
So boundary throw in, it's a short one, and Visentini could have taken out of the ruck, knocked it down to Bergman. He's tackled immediately. The umpire will ball that one up again. Saw a free kick for that at this end of the ground that resulted in a Durden goal earlier. Visentini again knocks it down. Saligo bursts through. Kick smothered. Curtin lays a tackle there on Logan Evans. Not sure how he got rid of it. Butters handballs it to Bergman, but Keys comes through with a smother. So we'll have another boundary throw in. Left forward pocket for Adelaide. They're holding it in, but they trail by 6 points. We're into time on.
So Port with the inside 50 numbers this term, but just, unable to get any reward. Tossed in. Visentini taps it down. Looking for Richards, sliding through. Rankin with the ballerina turn, but gave it away straight to Farrell. Will be coming back anyway. Free kick. Jace Burgoyne is the tackler, and he'll get the footy. Gives everybody a chance to kind of reset. We had the entire playing cohort kind of swamped 40 out from the goal for Adelaide rather. They're still heavily weighted on the eastern outer side.
And it has been a largely congested second quarter, which hasn't allowed for many score, and a bit of a frustrating second quarter to call when you're just waiting for this game to open up.
It's a scrap. That's about it.
It's not quite selling the standalone pitch we made earlier. Right now, down the line, players converge. Free kick block, Adelaide. Marshall against Toby Murray. Murray wants to move it quick. Gives it to Laird into the 50. Kick was a little hot, went through the midst of Bergman in front. Almost Falcon Thilthorpe. He wasn't expecting it to get to him. And he's tackled on the second attempt over the boundary line. 25 out, left forward pocket.
Can we have a TV timeout and everyone just sort of reset here? What do you reckon?
Feels like it,
It's a
doesn't
little
it?
draining, isn't it? Just, yeah, good crowd, good build-up, a lot on the line. Hasn't been the best brand. Tossed in Vicentini, the only ruck. Kicked it straight into Berry. Ricochets out. Murray's hospital handball. Bergman is set upon by Berry.
That said, the tackle pressure is at a really high standard, and probably, to be honest, the Crows need that to be the case.
45 out, Adelaide's go. Toby Murray down. Head over the footy. Saligo slaps it looking for Rankin. Just a bit too much purchase over the boundary line. 25 out now. Over at Docklands, mentioned earlier, half-time, it was the Bulldogs by 14. That is still the margin at the moment in the third early stages. You can hear it on ABC Listen through the AFL button.
So Zach Taylor and Dan Curtin just with a one possession each. Curtin's here at the ball now, trying to make an impact. Oh, Bergman was slung into the ground there by Berry, and if his head's hit the turf, thankfully not, because that looked ugly, didn't it?
Might have been lucky there.
Vicentini knocks it down, coming through as Drew. Cook gathers, gets it to Laird. His kick is a quick one and dangerous, and Taylor, who we just mentioned, couldn't complete the mark. Coming through was Farrell. Quick kick out of defence. Crows have the numbers. Brought to ground by Georgiades. But doing well was Miller. He's having quite the game. Handballs back to Max Michaelani to Butts. He kicks out towards the wing, outer side of the ground. Butters created a contest. Rode by Horn Francis. Back to Georgiades. Their three best players. Kicks a squib ball towards the forward line, but Miller was reading it best. Handballs back to Cook under huge pressure. Swung in the 360. Socket off the ground by Richards. There's a free. A high tackle against Drew on Cook. A relieving one for the Crows at centre half back.
I'm glad Wayne Miller plays for the Adelaide Crows.
Huge game.
He's had a great year. Career high 25 touches. Braden Cook up to the attacking edge. Again, not sure who he was targeting. It was nowhere near Rankin. Only finds Josh Lai. His kick a little casual as well. Laconic as he went wide. Trying to get to Richards. How's that coming with a desperate dive? Fists it towards the boundary line. Who wants it more? Usually the showdown's about the fire in the belly, but right now it's just looking a little ugly.
I think the contest has been reasonable and the defensive pressure is there. It's the class when you've got the footy that's lacking so far.
Friday night slugfest for all the wrong reasons. Out of the stoppage, knocked down to Saligo, tackled, ball bobbled out. Butters got him. Murray's had a fresh airy, fell into the footy. Tackle on top by Berry. No whistle. Peatling gathers. He strip drops it from Wines. Umpire's just letting it go. Rankin heads back to McAndrew. Off his steps, heads towards the 50. Couple of flyers. Out the back, Aaliyah fumbles. Thilthorpe's there. Says thank you very much to Taylor. Then Rochelle tumbles it through from 30. And a rare error from Aaliyah. Aaliyah opens the door. Showtime strikes. Scores level in Showdown 59. 3-4-22. 25 played in the second term on ABC Sport. Matthew Clark and Lauren Arnell, your experts.
Well, the game needed that, didn't it? It's been a scrap, but a little moment of class there. And, Rochelle's had 3 opportunities this quarter. Normally you'd expect him to get 2 at least, but that one is going to be really significant for the group going into half-time.
No doubt Aaliyah would want that moment back, an uncontested fumble in a high-pressure situation, and he's been one of the better players for Port Adelaide. He's playing a lot of time on turnover footy. He's a lot of time to spare. Want that moment back.
All right, who can wrestle it in this last little bit, hey?
2 minutes to go in this second quarter. A low-scoring affair, but a tight contest. We're locked away 3-4 apiece. Clever work from Wines from the clearance. Handballs to Butters out towards Ware. He sells some candy because he's a left footer. He's run a long way. Kicks inside the forward 50. Floating backwards. Millera! What a game he's having. 18 touches now. Takes the intercept mark and finds Taylor at right half back.
Good little kick to get them out there. Wayne Millera, only 123 games in his first 10 seasons due to injuries. Now he feels like he's hitting his stride. Weaving away from danger, Max Michaelani got the short handball and his kick under a bit of pressure. Fisted over the boundary line.
Port with a relatively tall forward line right now. Georgiades, Whitlock, Horn-Francis and Marshall the deepest, but they have to start having a conversation about who to go to Miller, and Ewan McKinlay is just not tall enough to match him in the air.
Scores level, closing in on half-time. Tap down, Rankin puts on the Jets, breaks away from Burgoyne, and he went too far. Did take a bounce at the start, but once Burgoyne closed, he really arched the back and went for it.
Have we seen that before?
No sense of theatre. Umpires, come on.
It was borderline. He was just about to get his kick away. 2 bounces.
Come on.
Send it inboard and ran essentially from the logo to the attacking edge.
I reckon that one.
It's a bit harsh.
Let it go.
Free kick to Port. Kick from foul up towards left half forward, and Wines gets a free of his own for chopping of the arms.
That was there.
That was there. That happened to Rankin in that Collingwood game when he did his hamstring, when he was going to...
But that one he ran the entire centre square. This was half of it. Wines towards the 50. Big fly from Murray with the fist as he put his body on, cutting across in front. Knocks it towards the boundary line. Butters tries to keep it in, but it will get over the paints. What have they called here, Tom?
A push against Saligo in the contest when it was on the boundary line.
So Butters was tracking it. Saligo gave him a little nudge into the front row, and Butters gets the free kick. 3 straight frees against the home side in the showdown. They'll be rioting on the hill.
Lauren O'Neill surprisingly quiet at this stage of the game.
trying to digest what this game of football even is.
It's been a Benny Hill affair, and the umpires have said, stuff it, we're going to get involved to get the ball moving. Butters on the fence, left half forward, steps inboard. That is a gorgeous strike.
Wow.
Pandemonium at the Adelaide Oval.
Well,
the Crows fans are incensed, and Zach Butters hits it flush from a tight angle. Port by 6 again. 4-4-28 to 3-4-22 as we close in on halftime on ABC Sport.
The game needed a moment of class, and it looked like it was going to be Rankin at the other end, and instead it's an absolutely spectacular finish from Butters out wide. That's high quality. The lead-up was frustrating, but you can't deny the quality of that finish.
Such a good kick for goal from Butters, and an inaccurate start to the season in front of goal for him as well, but if there's anyone that's going to incense this Adelaide crowd further, it's Zach Butters in a goal celebration.
He turned to the fans, didn't he?
He's done it well.
Firing him up. Oh, you're right, Lauren. This is a strange game, but Port Adelaide lead it by 6 points. Sweet took it out of the ruck, forward handball. Burgoyne sockers it off the deck. Goes inside the forward 50. It would have to be perfect for the power to get a goal here, but Bond was good. Back to Matt Man Miller. What a game he's having so far. And you can hear the boos. They'll be booing the Port Adelaide players, but they'll be getting stuck into the men in yellow tonight. It's been a tough one. A lot of controversial calls, and they all seem to be going against Adelaide, who brought their way back into that clash, fought their way back. A late goal to Zach Butters puts Port in front by 6 points. They're 4-4-28. The home side Adelaide 3-4-22 at halftime.
Goal scorers all individuals. So for the Power, Georgiades, Wines, Butters and Durden as the umpires make their way down the race. You can hear them again. It's pretty ugly at the moment. They have not been well received so far tonight. The goal scorers for the Crows, Keys, Rochelle and Pedlar, and Taylor Walker out of the game in the first term without a touch. Hamstring injury that hopefully won't cost him too much footy at the age of 36. Miller with 19 touches leading the game, and Zach Butters with 18 on the opposite side as well. It's one of those contests that you won't be shoving straight into the VCR, but I mean, we talk about moments in showdowns, not so much contests, and it's a close game. All it takes is one big highlight, and it could be one of the best we've ever seen. Matthew Clark, Lauren O'Neill to break it all down.
Yeah, so it was a scrap, obviously, and probably the best thing about that quarter is that it's over. But the great thing about footy is that you can have a game like that, and sometimes it just takes a moment to break it open. I envisage that the second half we'll see similar, but I reckon late in the game the ball will start to move. If I'm being honest, I reckon Port Adelaide have probably moved the ball slightly more effectively and more efficiently throughout the course of the game. So I was actually really pleased with the way that the Crows held in there. I mentioned Thilthorpe's ability to compete. Hasn't had the day where he clunks the ball, but there was 4 or 5 occasions where he was the one that was able to get it to ground, give the Crows an opportunity to kick scores. Unfortunately, they missed most of those. Eventually, Rochelle got one, And then the late decision, questionable, but an elite finish from Butters gives them the 6-point advantage, which they probably deserve.
Well, I mean, Port owned the first quarter, and I thought the Crows had the second quarter on their terms. It was pretty messy. Both teams defended relatively well, but Miller, I think, is the best player on the ground so far. Butters' goal then probably has him in the mix of the conversation, but the most important player on the ground is by far Riley Thilthorpe. If he can't offer that aerial presence in the front half, the Crows are in trouble.
Yeah, well, if you consider the first quarter, Alir was perhaps that player on the ground where we're saying, well, are we ever going to get past that guy? In that quarter, they got past him. It wasn't clean, it wasn't pretty, but it was the ability to compete on those not elite entries, which enabled the Crows to at least stay in the fight. And that is one thing that they've been able to do over, as we've mentioned, over the last few years, is even when they feels as though they're not playing their absolute best footy, they find a way to stay in games. So a 6-point deficit at half-time is far from disastrous, and they'll come out after the break and see if we can put together some cleaner footy.
I think in the Port Adelaide rooms, you want to be encouraging the guys to be continuing to attack with more offensive speed. I think the Crows have done a really good job to slow Port down in their back half and stop those balls that are slicing through the middle and the overlap chain of handballs, where Port can often find Georgiades leading up one out deeper. So I think the Crows have defended well. Without Tex Walker, they miss their opportunity to link up through the ground, and so it becomes that aerial contest, the long kick down the line where you're waiting for the spill for your Rochelle types and Rankin. So
yeah, it could well come down to the team that's brave enough to take that risk and to bring the ball back through the middle, or to generate a handball chain to break this game open a little bit, because as you highlighted there, the game did just sort of live between the arcs, a lot of aerial contests, a lot of crunch. The few times where teams are willing to take a punt, put the ball into dangerous areas, it's going to open it up. It's going to give an opportunity for a better spectacle of footy anyway.
Just needs a bit of class, this contest, I think. But, I mean, to our credit, as we touched on, Port are by 6 at the moment. It's a one-kick game, and Matthew Nick said in the build-up, it feels like it's going to be a war, and we haven't really seen either team fire their best shot yet. So there'll be plenty to play out in the second half, but they're going blow for blow in terms of behinds and ugly entries, and maybe the game breaks open in the second half. The Taylor Walker injury, Loz, what does that do for Adelaide moving forward? They've tried to negate it, I guess, with Toby Murray, and I mean, ultimately they're a little bit kind of short up front now.
Yeah, I mean, the most challenging bit is I think he connects the ground really well for him. His ability to lead up, and Doc talked about it during that second quarter, is if he gets an Alir, then he drags Alir out of that intercept position because he hits up and connects the ground so well. And I mean, now they're sending Murray and McAndrew forward to try and compensate for that, which only really leaves you to a long kick down the line. You're not asking those guys to continually lead up throughout the game because they just don't have that forward craft, and you can't expect them to. And so you're tempted to continue to go long to Thilthorpe and allow for the spill where you've got your smalls at ground level who are super classy, or you have to play small ball. Yeah,
well, I think small ball's not perhaps the worst solution. If we bring Thilthorpe a little higher up the ground, we saw in the first quarter Toby Murray actually have a really strong aerial presence up through the wings, but when he gets closer to goal, it's tougher down there. There's more congestion, it's tougher to take those catches. So potentially we play the tools a little higher, draw Alir further up the ground, and then maybe it's a peddler out of the square that is the one that can perhaps break it open.
And how important does Dan Curtin become now for the Crows? We mentioned pre-game that they said very clearly that he was going to play low game time. They've had the injury to Tex Walker. We know that he's got enormous talent and he's really strong in a contest. Do you try and isolate a Dan Curtin? He's
one that you could use, and I guess the challenge for the Crows is that we're pinning on hopes on a guy who's coming back from injury. He's had a fairly interrupted in season. But yeah, it's definitely a viable alternative. The ability, I actually did get past Alir better in that quarter, but it was scrappy. Whereas if we can get some hit ups up through the wing and then release maybe smaller players into the forward line, potentially that gives us some cleaner looks.
There's the risk you run with a 5-man bench. You can use that fifth spot however you want. Second ruck, you could use it to slowly build up a player back from injury. You could use it for a veteran, but if you do the latter two and you get an injury, then you're forced into a position you might not have been prepared for, and we'll see if the Crows can adjust heading into this second half. Thoughts of Matthew Clark, Lauren Arnell, your experts on ABC Sport. Port by 6 at the major break in Showdown 59. Over at Docklands, third quarter, pretty tight affair there as well. The Bulldogs by 8. Now, they did have a pretty hot start, and they've led throughout the entire contest. Margin got as high as 26, but yeah, just an 8-point game now. 10-8-68, the Bulldogs, Fremantle 9-6-60. Marcus Bontempelli having a field day, 25 touches and a goal to his name already, just after heading towards three-quarter time. And in terms of the goal scorers, 3 to Switkowski and 2 to West and Aaron Norton. After that really hard landing on his head, he's been able to play on and looking good so far after last week's incident. On the text line, 0437 774 774. Phil says, "G'day team, I feel a bit of deja vu from last night's game. Could be a draw. We haven't had one in the history of the showdown. Why not make another moment?" One listener says, "The Crowies are absolutely pitiful at corridor football and they're getting a lesson as a result." And Kevin in Shenton Park has not held back on the text line regarding the umpiring, says free kicks should be about emphatic, transgressive acts. Now you are getting punished for piss weak, nondescript, tiggy touch wood behaviour.
You're allowed to say that on the ABC?
I think we can get away with that. That's probably borderline.
Can you just run me past that other word, though? Transgressive? Was that it?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have to get my thesaurus out when I get home.
I feel like Kevin's talking, clear black and white incidents compared to these, free kicks that can be a little bit contentious, and we've seen a few of those tonight.
Well, I think because of the nature of the contest, it's it is a scrap. It's a very tight affair, and therefore, umpires are clearly they're going to make the odd mistake as well. But when you're in a tight tussle like this one, it can feel as though you're being hardly treated. Especially when, the last goal of the term comes off a free kick and that one essentially gives Port the lead. You probably haven't noticed them as much through the first half of the quarter, and then you get to the latter stages where it matters and big decision swings the momentum.
A Durden free kick as well, that resulted in a goal. So there's been 2 goals. I mean, Butter's kick was brilliant, but the Bond free kick where he gathers the footy and immediately gets tackled on one-arm pin and they pay holding the ball 20 out directly in front. That's 2 goals.
I'd almost forgotten that. Now you've brought it up again.
So a lot of that first half was just like goldfish. We're just trying to get it out of the memory. But, as you said, 2 free kicks that were pretty egregious out of a 7-goal game. It makes a bit of a difference.
But it is tight. So we're going to see a tight one, and it's going to go to the wire.
That's all that matters.
What you expect in
showdown.
You can't
really go anywhere because this could go either way, and there's a lot at stake with both sides 3 and 4 and teetering on the edge of the top 10. 4-4-28 Port Adelaide, Adelaide 3-4-22. It's been great to have Matthew Clark on debut alongside Lauren Arnell. They coached against each other in showdowns. Now they get a chance to analyse them up here in the commentary box. We'll be back for the second half very shortly, and we'll keep you up to date with what's happening at the Docklands on local radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen. But for now, we can get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News, good evening, I'm Noni Edwards. Northern Territory Police have confirmed that the alleged killer of Kumanjai little baby Jefferson Lewis has been assessed and deemed fit for custody. ABC reporter Olivana Lathuris has more.
The exact whereabouts of Jefferson Lewis aren't known. Northern Territory Police aren't confirming his exact location. That is for safety reasons, given the scenes that we saw unfold in Alice Springs overnight. We do know that he was brought to Darwin after the events last night in Alice Springs, that he was given a fit for custody check. Police told us today that his injuries were not so severe that it would warrant him staying in hospital. So we do know that he is in police custody.
The organisation behind a flotilla that was intercepted by Israeli forces while attempting to deliver aid to Gaza says all but 2 of the activists on board have disembarked in Greece. An Israeli ship transferred 168 members of the flotilla crew to Greek boats, which then took them to shore, where buses and 1 ambulance car waited for them. The organisers said 2 activists remain with Israeli authorities. 6 Australians were aboard the flotilla. It's unclear if any of them remain in custody. The partner of former Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk has been charged after a police investigation into an alleged sexual assault. Emma Johnson reports.
Police allege a woman in her 30s was sexually assaulted at a Gold Coast address on March 30. Detectives and specialist officers raided Dr. Reza Adib's Burleigh Heads unit yesterday morning and declared a crime scene. The Brisbane-based surgeon presented at the Southport Police Station this afternoon. He's now been charged with 3 counts of rape, 2 counts of deprivation of liberty and 1 of sexual assault. The 64-year-old, who's the partner of former Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk, has been granted bail and is set to appear in the Southport Magistrates Court in mid-May.
A Supreme Court judge has found a man who killed his father in Perth last year not guilty of murder on the grounds of insanity. Samantha Girling reports.
The judge alone trial heard 32-year-old David Nadi Lami Musa was suffering from a psychosis when he stabbed his father and injured his stepmother at their home in Clarkson. The medical student in Queensland drove to Perth last year with the plan to kill his father, who he believed had abused him as part of a secret research project. Judge Terence Palmer found Mr Musa not guilty of murder and of endangering the life, health and safety of his stepmother on the grounds of insanity. Mr Musa was supported by family who waved to him as he was led from the dock. A hearing date has been set for July to determine whether it would be suitable to release him on a supervision order.
The WA Department of Health is urging people to check their polio vaccinations are up to date after the virus was detected in Perth's wastewater. The Chief Health Officer, Dr Claire Huppert, says until polio is eliminated across the world, we still need to be vigilant. She says the strain found in the sewage was not the wild virus, but from an oral vaccination that's used in some other countries.
This doesn't happen in Australia because we don't use the oral vaccines. This is an overseas phenomenon, and that's why we think that someone has travelled overseas and been exposed to the virus. Now, when you've been exposed, you can shed for quite some time.
The US Secret Service says an agent who was injured during an attempted assassination of President Donald Trump in Washington was not hit by friendly fire. Prosecutors in the US have released footage of gunman Cole Thomas Allen as he attempted to storm the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The 31-year-old's agreed to remain in custody as he awaits trial, while US President Donald Trump has said the agent was saved by his bulletproof vest. Secret Service Director Sean Currens told Fox News Allen was not hit during the exchange.
The suspect shot our officer point-blank range with a shotgun. Our officer heroically returned fire while being shot point-blank range in the chest with a shotgun. The officer just acted heroically.
To sport now, and in US basketball, Australia's Dyson Daniels has been ejected as his Atlanta Hawks were knocked out of the NBA playoffs after being thrashed by the New York Knicks. New York won Game 6, 140-89, to claim the series 4-2 and go through to the next round. Daniels and New York's Mitchell Robinson were involved in an altercation that sparked a melee between the two teams, with officials ejecting both players. You're now up to date with the very latest from ABC News. For more news at any time, you can head to ABC Listen.
Why do we collect things? And how much is too much? Join me, Annabelle Crabb, as I venture into the secret stacks of the State Library of New South Wales and discover that most of the collection isn't books at all. Search for the History or Hoarding podcast on ABC Listen.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Neil Bullen towards the 50. Thilthorpe flew through his hands. Keys out the back door. Pounces from 40 and hits it. Adelaide gets their second. Straight into the Riverbank stand. Margin down to 6.
So the Crows are saying it's a hamstring injury for Taylor Walker. So if that's a minor strain, that's 2 to 3 weeks, you'd think, without Tex Atley.
Rankin heads back to McAndrew. Off the steps, heads towards the 50. Couple of flyers. Out the back, Aaliyah fumbles. Thilthorpe's there. Says thank you very much to Taylor. Then Rochelle tumbles it through from 30. And a rare error from Aaliyah. Aaliyah opens the door. Showtime strikes. Scores level. Knocks it towards the boundary line. Butters tries to keep it in. But it will get over the paints. What have they called here, Tom?
A push against Saligo in the contest when it was on the boundary line.
So Butters was tracking it. Saligo gave him a little nudge into the front row, and Butters gets the free kick. They'll be rioting on the hill. Butters on the fence, left half forward, steps in board. That is a gorgeous strike.
Wow.
Pandemonium at the Adelaide Oval.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
Half-time of Showdown 59. It so far hasn't been a contest that you'd tell your children about, but there's still plenty to play out. Might be a thrilling finish. It's a one-kick game. Port by 6, 4-4-28. Adelaide 3-4-22. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson calling the action for you alongside our former Showdown coaches, Lauren Arnell and Matthew Clark, breaking it all down. Josh Money's downstairs as well. He's had a very big night. Taylor Walker injured early, looked a little bit off, came off late in the first, hamstring, and you wonder how long he'll be out for now. The Texan, the run coming up, a little bit of a mixed bag. They've got Richmond, heading into North Melbourne and then Hawthorn and Tassie before their bye in round 12, the Crows. So you think you might be able to get away with it against the Tigers, but they wouldn't want to have Tex not there in Tassie, but given he's 36 and a hamstring injury, who knows how long he might be out for here. Port Adelaide, meanwhile, so far looking pretty slick. Just have been battling a bit in terms of the entries against them. The inside 50 count +7 the way of the Crows, and they had plenty of it in the first quarter, Adelaide. They led that stat 13-8. Just didn't get any reward for their effort there. So Port by 12 at the first change, 6 at the half. And we wait and see what's in store for us in this second half of Showdown 59. Text line 0437 774 774 as well if you do want to get in touch. And there is another game on. The Western Bulldogs up against Fremantle. I reckon it's three-quarter time there, at least closing in on it. 30-minute mark. Bulldogs have finally given up the lead. They were up by as much as 26, in charge for the majority of the game. Fremantle have pipped it back, so up by 3 points in the third quarter, at least at three-quarter time. Looks like the Dockers kicked 3 of the last 4 to really close that gap and hit the front. So 12-6-78 to 11-9-75. We might have 2 thrillers on our hands after the first draw of the season last night. News of the day as well, nothing overly dramatic. Andrew Dillon's in town, but the rumblings are we won't get a gather-round extension this weekend. Sounds like it's all but locked in, but they won't announce it just yet. They're just waiting for the right timing. South Australia to play WA and Origin next year, but it will be in Perth. And in terms of injuries around the leagues, Josh Gibcus out for the year with an ACL issue. So Richmond's injury list continues to grow after losing Sam Lawler last night. So the Tigers are in a world of hurt. Maybe a good time for the Crows to face them next weekend.
Did I see a headline that SA is going to play in the next 2 Origin games? Was that?
Yeah, rumblings are they'll host the 2028 one.
Brilliant.
Yeah, 2027 headed to play WA out west. It's just a matter of how you squeeze Vic back in, given that I think a large part of State of Origin is everybody hates Victoria and we want to get them. So we'll see what the AFL does there. I'm sure they don't want their showpiece team out of it.
By my math, would that say we play WA and then we play Victoria here?
I assume so, Doc.
Spot on.
All right, get your tickets early.
We'll quote you when it comes through. Confirmation Dockers by 4 at three-quarter time now. So final term coming up and you can hear it on ABC Listen. Lauren Arnell, Matthew Clark here. We'll see if we get much of the same in the second half of Showdown 59. What's our call from here, team?
Oh, this is a massive half. Like, if we go back to the start, and we highlighted, one of these teams gets to even the ledger, the other one goes to 3 and 5. So, as much as the first half wasn't a great spectacle, what we've got is an enormous second half coming up for 2 teams that want to set up their season.
Loz, sticking with your Port tip?
I am. I've seen Todd Marshall return to defence again after playing forward for the second quarter. I just want to see both teams be braver, and especially Port Adelaide. They've got enough ahead of the ball to do that. Take on the game a bit more offensively.
Here we go. Let's see if the footy improves. Packed house at the Adelaide Oval. Showdown 59. It's the Power by 6.
McAndrew knocks it down towards Rochelle. He's got Drew for company. Joe Berry comes in off centre half forward. Handballs into the contest. Sweet. Gets it to Burgoyne. He was tackled by Cumming and he handballs to Rankin. He takes one bounce, runs to 50, unloads, goes for home. Murray's got a free run at it. Couldn't complete the mark and it goes over for a rush behind.
Probably had to finish that play, but outstanding defensive effort.
Todd Marshall on the line.
So 3-5-23 Adelaide, Port 4-4-28. Hot start in the third term.
Marshall to Farrell. It was a good ball movement up to right half back, but Berry put down an uncontested grab. Pouncing on it, Cumming gets it back towards Rochelle. Spun in the tackle, got a handball clear. Trickles just towards the 50 for the Crows. Towed back towards Peatling. Now Laird wanted to give it off to Neil Bullen. Takes his time, slows everything down, uses Rochelle and gets a bit of leg spin on the bounce. Gee, it just curled its way towards the behind line, but ends up being a minor score. Pitched right in front of the goal line. Rochelle just didn't get the footy gods on his side. So consecutive behinds, Port by 4.
So Marshall to bring it back in. That was an Angus Monfries type bounce, but not in the favour of the goals. Goes to Burne-Jones, back to Marshall at full back. Really get anything happening here, Port Adelaide. So finds Lockie Jones at right half back. Pinpoint pass. It's stagnant, Port, but just waiting for their good options. Another good kick to Bergman. Others runs around for the handball. Bergman fakes it, goes inboard to Drew. He takes the mark. Francis, precise ball work, ball movement, but he couldn't quite hit the target. Big contest between Berry and Butters. Butters wins out, gets it to Horn Francis. Handballs to Whitlock at right half forward, and he lowers the ice for Durden, who marks 20 out in a 45-degree angle.
And that's the bravery with the ball, the willingness to go inside. Spear kicks, Todd Marshall involved twice, Zach Butters. Just your willingness to roll the dice offensively, back in your kick, play a bit faster at the opposition, and it creates a golden opportunity in front of goal for Port Adelaide.
And that forward handball that you mentioned earlier in the call, Lauren, that broke open the game there. 2 or 3 forward handballs. So early in the part, Port Adelaide have taken their opportunity.
And Durden takes his second opportunity. That's his second major of the night. Port Adelaide strike first in the second half. They go to 5-4-34. Adelaide 3-6-24. A 10-point margin, 2.5 minutes gone third term.
It was clearly a healthy conversation amongst the Port Adelaide coaches around where do we play Todd Marshall? Are we reacting to the Crows and sending him forward like we did in the second quarter because we want to stretch their defenders, or do we play him where we've set him up to play well and leave him as a defender? And geez, whoever was on the defensive side of the argument at half-time, you'd be grinning in the coach's box right now, because his ability to set up Port Adelaide's offence from the back half is going to be a really important part, not just of this game, but of Port Adelaide's season.
That first kick, 45 metres flat, was the one that started the whole chain.
Averages around 80% in terms of his disposal efficiency, Todd, and just what a rebrand. The concussion issues fell out of favour with Ken Hinkley, and now he's a new man down back. In the middle, tapped down by McAndrew. Looking for Berry, he's pulled away from it. Horn Francis puts his head over the footy, just can't win it. Ball up to come just outside the centre circle. Quick reset. Sweet in front position to Horn Francis. Trying to break free from Rochelle. And they converge. She's the meat in the sandwich. Ball up outside the centre circle. McAndrew down to Butters. It's flying through the stoppage. Did well to get it back to Sweet, and a looping handball out of traffic into some space for Burne-Jones, who can release Burgoyne, turns, honours the lead and drills it to Mitch Georgiades. 25 out, tight to the right.
I think Mitchell will be buying Burgoyne a couple of coffees during the week. The ice-cold delivery for him, going inside 50 already twice this game, has been elite from Jace Burgoyne.
Yeah, we asked for class to be added to the game, and we've seen it in these first few passages. So this is a massive kick. If this gets out to 16 points, it's not panic stations, but it's edging that way.
Jordan Sweet finding space in a shoebox, and they get out of there. Clean entry, Mitch Georgiades. 1-1 for the night. 4-6 last week. It could be anything. Take your pick. Georgiades, tight angle. Hooks it across to the left. Minor score, Port Adelaide by 11. 5-5-35, 3-6-24 the Crows. 4 played third term. Still waiting to see a touch of class in Showdown 59.
So Miller brings it back in for touch number 20. Up towards the ruckman. Sweet got a hand into it. So Ware Rove kicks inside the forward 50. Visentini brings it to ground. Ball ace took on the tackle of Durden. Oh, jeez. Wow.
Consistency.
So he got a free kick that wasn't there earlier, so maybe that levels it up. Sweet knocks it down to Drew, still inside Port's 50. Horn Francis took on Berry, gets the handball out to Ware, who has a flying shot at goal from the pocket. Goal umpire just moved to his left, so he missed to the right there, Ware. Minor score, 5-7-37. Adelaide 3-6-24. 5.5 minutes gone in this third term.
Now to the broadcast wing go the Crows. It's a long ball. I reckon it might have cleared the pack and gone over. Josh Worrell is usually so deadly. Misses his target. Joe Richards to bring it back in. Shakes his head. Doesn't really have a lot of options. So just thump it back where it came from. Sky ball. Vicentini sits under it. Butts with a big fly on the fist. But out the back, Whitlock with some space to give it to Berry. Tried to ride the contact of Peatling, but turned straight into trouble. Brought down high by the former Giant. Free kick left back pocket.
Joey Berry's eyes were lighting up there, just waiting to curl onto his left foot, and James Peatling, an enormous goal-saving tackle deep in defence.
And Golf Simon gets the free kick. Out towards the broadcast wing he goes, trying to get Phil Thorpe. Lear edges him out of it. Off hands. Evans with some fancy footwork. Steps out, then in. Kicks a little wide, though, of Richards. Knocked away by Michael Annie. Boundary throw in just inside 50 for Port Adelaide. They're up by 12 at the moment here at the Adelaide Oval.
And they've got the game looking the way they would love it. It's camped in their front half.
So Port 5-6-36, Adelaide 3-6-24. 7 minutes gone, third term from the contest. Goes out the back to Butters. Handballs to Evans, looking for Richards. Chased down by Keys. He shrugged the tackle, threw it on the left boot, but couldn't snap it round far enough. Another minus score to Port Adelaide. That's 3 in a row. 5-7-37. Adelaide 3-6-24.
Had a run similar last week against the Cats, where they had 19 of 22 scoring shots, but only had 7 goals in that period, Port Adelaide. Just need to be a little bit cleaner in front of goal, and they'll get some reward, but it's going to hurt them here. So clearing kick. Braden Cook takes the mark against Ware, who knocked the footy away from him 50 metres, and suddenly Adelaide get marched all the way to half forward, and no one's tracked Cook, so he can play on and go for a run and gain even more meterage into the 50. He was looking for Thilthorpe, knocked away by Aaliyah, but it bobbles straight to Rochelle from 25. Josh Rochelle gets the gift and welcomes the package. Gets stuck into a few power players, but no sellies just yet. Rochelle with 2, margins down to 7. Port Adelaide 5-7-37, Adelaide 4-6-30. 8 minutes played, third term on ABC Sport.
The Port Adelaide coaches box would be flat. They had the game looking exactly the way they wanted it, and it just was a lack of composure. He just didn't need to do that. He gives away the 50, and it just opens the game, and then no one to be on the mark. I mean, that's probably... Yeah, there's been disappointed people in the coaches box at the moment.
Well, you mentioned it was Port Adelaide with all the time in front half to start this third quarter, and you just got to take your opportunities, which is what Cook did and continues to do well this season. And Rochelle on the end of 2 more fumbles from experienced Port Adelaide defenders in Jones and Aaliyah. He's not going to leave those ones out there any further past that first quarter.
2 goals, 3 for Rochelle, so really hitting the scoreboard. That was a big moment. Back in the middle of the ground, knocked down towards Drew, who quick kicked it to Wines, who handballed to Butters. Sweet steps inside. He loves that manoeuvre. We saw it last week, but he handballed it straight to Taylor. He handballs to space towards Sam Berry. Ware dives on top of the footy, won it back. Clever. Butters ends up with it, goes inside the forward 50. Floating across the pack was Butts. That was clever. There's going to be a free kick anyway. Might have been pushed in the contest. The big man did a good job to win it back, and he goes short to Saligo at right half back.
Saligo starting to get into the season as well. A hard issue in the pre-season, the ankle a few weeks ago. Dominated the Sandful. Now back in tonight. Uses Berry down the line. Rochelle takes it on the chest. He's getting lively in the third. Spins on a dime. Heads to the 50. Thilthorpe was on the march, but getting in front. Darcy Byrne-Jones, well scouted.
Great read from Byrne-Jones.
Thilthorpe knew it about 5 metres before it dropped that Darcy Byrne-Jones was there and ready. Short pass to Ollie Wines. Defensive edge, has a runner. Riding shotgun. Logan Evans gets the keys. Kicks up to left half forward. A little long for his target in Whitlock, and Butts is escorted over the boundary line.
Byrne-Jones, a highlight for the Port Adelaide fans so far in this season. 13 possessions tonight, 78% disposal efficiency, and reading the ball so well to peel off his opponent and outnumber. Freo
by 3 at the Docklands, 6 played final term.
So Sweet knocks it down towards Drew, immediately wrapped up by Saligo. Yeah, Byrne-Jones was told he'd be playing defence after playing forward for a few years. Wasn't sure how he felt about it, but we know he's an All-Australian there. Wines with the clearance, handballed it inside the forward 50. Max Michelani handballed it away, and Miller is wrapped up by Drew. No prior opportunity, so we'll have a ball up inside Port's 50. 35 from goal, left half forward. In front is Sweet. Takes it or taps it to himself and then handballs over his head forward to the left forward pocket. The Crows have the numbers. Cook takes them on, snaps around the body, keeps it in play long enough. Wines gathers, good tackle from Saligo. He just handed it to Drew. Play on, says the umpire. Ware to Wines, short kick to Durden. Was it required? 15 not, says the umpire. Tackled by Peatling, right call, ball up left half forward for the Power.
Get the tape measure out. That was pretty close. McAndrew down to Berry. Kicks it out of dodge. Across the body up towards the eastern side. Thilthorpe outnumbered. Brought it down. Keys. Crunched. Hard tackle into the dirt. Ball up to come at the attacking edge for the Adelaide Crows. Kicking to the Riverbank stand this term. McAndrew down looking for Peatling. For Port Adelaide, rather, going to the Riverbank stand this term. So Adelaide to the left of your radio dial. Out of the stoppage, handball change. Saligo to Cook. Forward to Curtin. Fumbled. Had a bit of space. Slid across. Was a low ball for the tall man and knocks it over the boundary line.
Bit of first game rust there. But both teams are showing a willingness to try and get the ball to the outside of the contest. So it's just as fierce on the inside. But both teams now seeing some handball chain to the outside, which is opening the game up.
Tossed in Port Adelaide at the moment by 7. Sweet with a double tap down. Peatling head over the footy, tackled by Wines, left it behind. Drew slides in. Saligo with him. No one really wants to take full control of the footy. Another ball up to come near the logo.
Trying to break things up. So McAndrew knocks it down to Saligo. Quick kick around the body up towards centre half forward. Josh Lai. Good grab. His teammate took his legs out. And Jones.
Josh Lai can fly.
Yes. Doc with the good work on debut. So Lai kicks out towards, it's a helicopter ball to Burgoyne on centre wing. Worked in the end. Goes short to Logan Evans. Centre wing in front of the benches. Just right in front of the interchange there where Jason Horne-Francis and Kane Farrell trying to get back on. Evans told to play on, sold some candy first, goes inside the forward 50, and Mitch Georgiades flew way too early, and that's going to wreck a great mark from Jack Whitlock. Can hear your size there, Doc.
Well, it's a shame, isn't it? I mean, as a fan of the game, you love to see a big clunk like that rewarded, but yeah, it was definitely a free kick beforehand.
So Borlase gets it. Port by 7. Searching exit, Jones flies, slipped through his hands. Taylor's gone down, may have copped a stray arm. Port Adelaide race away with it. Lockie Jones to Bergman, coming the other way. Michael Annie commits with the smother, shoots back to Lockie Jones, tried to get him to McKinlay, fumbled, Whitlock tackle, dropped it, thumped away by Millerer, central to Peatling, and he jams it on the boot, just looking for territory. Bit of time to reset for the Crows. That was a dangerous entrance. And that's Michael Annie coming the other way to close the gap. Could have been an easy inside 50 for Port Adelaide. Here they come again. They recover at half-back. Logan Evans combines with Jason Horne-Francis. Now Ollie Wines, left half forward. The Hornet kept running, and he's got a bit of buzz as he zigs through 2 into the 50. Georgiades! Great hanger in the left forward pocket. Set shot to come, 10 out, and there's a big story for the Crows. Meanwhile, Josh Money.
Yeah, Alex Neil-Bullen, who obviously missed that game at the Gabba with a knee issue, is just limped to the bench, clutching at his knee in the hands of the Dogs at the moment.
Taylor Walker already out with a hamstring in the first term. Is this the shift in momentum Port Adelaide's been looking for? Mitch Georgiades opens the angle, snaps from 20 and has 2 on the night. Port back up by 13, which shock horror is an equal game high margin. Port 6-7-43 to Adelaide's 4-6-30. 14 played, third term. Josh Carr's men with a bit of momentum, Lauren Arnell.
Well, some really good organisation, I think, from the Port Adelaide defenders. They know that the Crows like to switch out from their back half, and Peatling with the errant kick in hope, and Port just had +3, +4 just waiting for it in the build-up. The Crows couldn't reorganise themselves, Doc. And for Horne-Francis to get overlap handball and uncontested possession to Georgiades, I think is a highlight they won't want to watch back at the Crows at Westlakes during the week.
Yeah, the Peatling kick was the right decision. He had to clear the area, but the ability to reset set your defence wasn't at the level. And there's some worrying signs here for the Crows today.
Vicentini knocks it down towards Horne-Francis, back towards Wines. He took on the tackle from Rochelle, holding the ball. Been a real spark for the Crows, Josh Rochelle. Got 2 of their 4 goals. Goes inside the forward 50 looking for Curtin, who flies. 1 bite, 2 bite, couldn't complete the mark. Murray's there with Marshall wrapped up, ball up. Right half forward for the Crows, who are trailing by 13 points. 16 minutes gone in the third term.
Quick reset. Vicentini searching for the boundary line, tapped it down, but Rankin's lurking dangerously. Bounces off 2. Tight angle, can't work his magic. It's across the face and out on the full. Free kick Port. Landslide over at Docklands as well. So the Dockers have kicked 4 goals in 6 minutes, and they're up by 28 after being down 24. Looks like they're surging towards victory. Western Bulldogs running out of legs. What's the latest downstairs, Josh Money?
So Alex Neil-Bullen in real strife, and also for the Crows, Jordan Butts has come to the bench, clutching at his groin, gone straight down to the rooms.
Bit of relief though, Logan Evans has sprayed this exiting kick out on the full, so Adelaide left half forward through Rory Laird.
5 on the bench, but if you lose 3, that starts to get awkward.
Sixth man? Rory Laird steps inside. Throw a blanket over them on the drop. 2 power players commit, Bergman and Evans, and they knocked it away from each other. Spills down, Curtin hands it to Saligo, and he strikes from 15. Saligo with the green light. Bang! Hooked it over the goal umpire. Crowd waited a moment, and now it can finally roar. This game is really starting to liven up. Margins down to 7. 5-6-36 Adelaide, Port 6-7-43. 17 played third term on ABC Sport.
Well, the type of finish we know Jake Saligo is very capable of, and to me it just seems like the Crows, we talked at halftime around, they're going to need to go long down the line a lot in this game, and now with the injury to Neil Bullen and Walker off for this game, I can't see they've got the men to be able to chain possession through the ground and link up by kick. So they're going to have to go long down the line and rely on these types of goals where the ball spills and guys like Saligo capitalise. But Port Adelaide are showing a real vulnerability when that ball does spill. If Alia's not taking intercept mark or Burn-Jones isn't peeling off, as soon as it spills, they're very fumbly at ground level in their back half.
Yeah, but the Butts injury is a concern because we've now got Worrell going to Georgiades, and you need Worrell higher up the ground as your intercept, ideally not locked onto to their key forward.
So just waiting to check this one potentially, see if they got the call right with the arc, because everyone's waiting in the middle of the ground. Camera's on Jake Saligo, who's standing up next to his fellow number 14, Miles Bergman. And you can check it straight away. You can't start play and then check it again. So they're just making sure of this one, and we can see it on the big screen now. Not sure there's going to be conclusive enough evidence here. I mean, looks like maybe some of the ball is over the post, but
what if we just put one goal umpire on each post and then just let them make a call? Oh my gosh!
They've reversed it. It's going to be a behind.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think the Crows needed that goal to get the crowd into the game. They've obviously got some injury concerns, but the crowd can play a factor in a game like this if we can, see the energy of the crowd link into the playing group. But at the moment, that's been deflated by that call.
So Todd Marshall brings it out of defence. A goal taken away from Jake Saligo. Wines is in there, tackled by Rankin. That was probably... took a note that was the 17-minute mark that he kicked that goal, and it took 2 minutes to determine whether it was a goal or not. So, and Andrew Dillon on the big screen, he's been booed by the Crows fans.
Everyone's getting a serve tonight.
Anarchy here at Adelaide Oval. Back into the middle on the centre wing. Handball from Thilthorpe, clever from Rankin, knocked it inboard to Cumming. He set sail from 50.
Come on.
Make no mistake with that one. That is not coming back. That's straight through the middle from Isaac Rankin. And boy, they needed that. They go to 5-7, 37, Port 6-7, 43. 20 minutes gone in the third term.
Thilthorpe into the ruck. He's not always getting his hand on the ball in the ruck contest, but those clean hands around at ground level sends Rankin forward, and away we go.
How much more would you stick with it, Doc? I mean, they're down so many. Like, they're down Butts, down Walker, down and forward in Neil Bullen as well. And there'd be so much temptation to play Thilthorpe continually high up the ground, but they need him forward, don't they?
They do ultimately, but I don't mind, getting his hands on the ball. I'm not sending him there for a 10-minute spell, but 5 minutes in the ruck here, I think can get him in the game.
Goal assist to the arc for the old 7-point play. Margins down to 6. Josh Money downstairs.
Yeah, mixed news on the Crows bench. Alex Neil-Bullen's had that right knee re-strapped and is back on the ground. Still no Jordan Butts.
Sweet down straight to Wines. Launched into the air to grab it. Tackled quickly and gave it away. Rochelle to Berry. Adelaide inside 50. Toby Murray put down by Alia in the back. And the mark taken. Deemed an intercept one for Port Adelaide.
Maybe, Lauren, you were right. Thilthorpe in the square might have been handy then.
Alia to Logan Evans. Hot footy as he kicked to Butters. He had Berry breathing down his neck. Ball bobbles out. Keys there. Hands it to Neil Bullen. Max Michaelani lowers the eyes inside 50 to Jake Saligo. There is a flood of Crows right now. Saligo wants to move it quickly and turns it over. He had a set shot 40 out straight in front. spotted Rochelle in front of the scoreboard, but kicked it straight to Logan Evans instead. Was not the weighted kick he was after. Evans has done just the same. His kick is poor. Saligo got a fingertip in. Knocked back to Lai. Port Adelaide with the get out of jail free card. Heads wide. McKinlay now up towards Sweet. This will hurt Adelaide. He turns through the centre square. Heads to Mitch Georgiades. Ball A's backtracking. Knocked out. Vicentini runs into goal. Big Dante with his first of the season. And Dante's put Adelaide in the inferno. Should have been an inside 50 mark. And instead, it goes end to end and Port Adelaide back up by 12. 7-7-49. Adelaide 5-7-37. Time on in the third in Showdown 59 on ABC Sport.
Well, Doc, I had to pick my jaw up off the floor when Saligo went to pass that ball. He had a golden opportunity to kick two in a couple of minutes and Port Adelaide get out really quickly. I haven't seen Jordan Sweet get ahead of the ball as fast as that in his whole career, and I think that's the exposure for Thilthorpe if he's been in the ruck. He's been moved forward again. Or he's had a rest, actually. I think he's on the bench. But Thilthorpe, as the ruck, Sweet pushed forward on him knowing he wouldn't keep up and exposed that forward run, and Vicentini kicking a small man's goal.
It was. Well called. Back in the middle of the ground, McAndrew's there. Rankin tries to get it. He does. Off to Peatling. He turns towards the centre circle, kicks up the ground towards Pedler, brings it to ground in front of Lai. Took on the tackle of McKinlay, got the handball away, but handballed it straight to Lai. A tough contact between Butters and Laird. Laird wins out in the end. Handballs to Michaelani. It's hot in there. Zach Taylor turns on the left and finds Miller, an important one. Marks in front of the interchange gates. Been their best tonight. Miller goes short to Taylor. Plays on quickly, short again to the corner of the square to Peatling. Now he's going to send it in long, up towards the goal square. It's a 2-on-1. Thilthorpe was wanting the lead. He's put his hands up and said, kick it to me! Not to Alir, who read that better than anyone else.
Alir's kick, a soft one, trying to guide it up towards Wines. Neil Bullen will get a hand in and knock it over the boundary line. Chemistry isn't there inside 50, is it, tonight for
Not
the Crows?
at this moment. And Porter winning the aerial battle, not helped by the fact that Jordan Butts is on the bench, obviously, but they went tall with Marshall in the third quarter. They don't have to do that anymore because they've got the mismatches forward without it.
Their bookends off. Walker with a hamstring. Butts on the pine at the moment. We're concerned for him as well. Tossed in. Wines with a hot handball to Burgoyne, quickly tackled. Taylor brings him down. We'll get a ball up just outside the 50 for the Crows. Sweet down, charging through. Butters flung his body in but didn't come out with the footy. Horn Francis wrapped up by a couple. It's Port by 12. Game high margin just 13. Low scoring affair in Showdown 59. Sweet took it out of the ruck, tackle, dropped it, and the tackle lingered. This is the new free kick. Well, it's not really new, it's a few years now, but if the rucks take it out of the ruck and are tackled, it's not holding the ball. So he's just dropped it, and McAndrew has continued with it. So the holding free kick Port Adelaide's way, when the old school rule was you drop it, it's holding the ball.
Ruck Lotto, been going on for 50 years.
Yeah, that's horrific.
It's an ugly look.
I'm sorry.
Sweet gets it at right half back. Down the line, 2-on-2. Mitch Georgiades went for an absolute hanger. Couldn't come down with the footy. Gee, he was touching the night sky in Adelaide. Sam Berry now for the Crows. Picks it up and hands it to Taylor. Uses Peatling. Wormburner towards the 50. Rochelle caught behind. Pleads his case. Logan Evans all over him. Josh Lybe mops it up. Heads back where it came from. Centre wing broadcast side. Off hands and out the back. Worrell uses Laird, and Adelaide can reset on the eastern side. Braden Cook. Paddock to work with. Open real estate. Trots up to the logo. Guides it up to Curtin. Marks just behind right half forward. Swings on the left. Into the 50. Thilthorpe tried to edge out Alir. Held his ground. Tapped it forward. Burne-Jones is there for the power. Bangs it out towards left half back.
And Cook, they had 2-on-1 there, the Crows. And he read it best. Good grab. Goes in board to Neil Bullen. That knee heavily strapped. Spent some time off the ground this quarter.
With the smaller lineup, they're going to have to lower their eyes and hit some flatter balls in.
So it goes long to Thilthorpe, got two hands on it, rode by Keys, off to Rochelle, ducked the head. Burne-Jones grabs the footy, flicks it back to Drew, kicks it out of defence. Too hot for Bond, but it gathered by Peatling, handball to his former GWS teammate coming wrapped up. Play on, says the umpire. Butters on his hands and knees, knocks it to Todd Marshall. He dropped the footy, fell to Saligo, running towards goal, missed to the right. Big opportunity for young Jakey, 5'8", 38. Port 7-7, 49, 26 and a half minutes gone, third term.
Doc, it might be a little bit of now or never for the Crows. Like, the more guys they lose, the longer the game goes, the more the fatigue that sets into less legs and the less of a bench. If they can't take their opportunities now, they're going to be in trouble. Yeah,
it's getting to that point, but I think the smaller lineup sort of forces you to play a little bit more active footy, which is maybe not going to hurt them. We definitely look vulnerable down back, but if we can turn it into more of a running game, potentially, if I stop saying we and start saying the Crows, they might get back into this contest.
He's learning on the job. Matthew Clark on debut. Caught by 11. Kane Farrell's long kick-off hands. Boundary throw-in now. Sam Berry tracks it. Tackled just before the footy reached him. Saligo gets it. Gives it to Peatling. Pulls the kick well. Taylor, 55. Flares it inside. Pedler caught behind. Bergman cut in front. Came away with the footy. Panicked his exit. Dumped it straight back to Sam Berry, 52 out. Thinking about the set shot, not sure he's got the legs. Had a lead in the left forward pocket for an eternity and decided not to use Rochelle. Instead sets it up and Aaliyah gets in front again. He has been so good. The immovable object, Aaliyah in defence. Fists it into the front row, boundary throw-in. Dogs have kicked the last 3 at the Docklands, so just when you thought the game was wrapped up, time on in the fourth, Freo by 9. You can hear the finish on ABC Listen if you'd like. We'll walk you through it, otherwise if you stay with us.
Boundary throw-in. McAndrew tries to take it out of the ruck, dropped it. Wines handball to Sweet. Handballed over his head to Logan Evans. High ball, one-on-one contest. McKinlay v Cumming. Visentini throws his body at it. Dived on the ball. They're all over him, the Crows. How does the umpire read it? Holding the ball. That's textbook there. Doing well at the bottom of the pack there was Peatling to hold the ball to Dante Visentini. So he plays on now, sells some candy, gets past him, steps inside, handballs off to Zach Taylor, unloads from 40, pulled it away to the left. Another minus score, 5-9, 39, Port 7-7, 49, late in this third quarter, but there is still a bit of time, 29 minutes gone.
6 of the last 8 scoring shots for the Crows, but they've only got 2-3 as a reward. Burn-Jones to the broadcast, swing, fly! Josh Worrell. This Crow's got some wings. He soars over the pack and clunks one in front of the broadcast booth. Worrell back inside 50 for Adelaide. They converge 40 from home. Pedler flies, bopped off his chest. Curtin gets it wide. Ben Keys screws it from 30. Adelaide's back in the hunt. Keys has 2. Margins just 4. Port 7-7, 49, Adelaide 6-9, 45, time on in the third, and we might be careering towards what will be a grandstand finish in the showdown again.
Well, we're getting rewarded for our perseverance in the second quarter, which was just hard to watch, and this quarter's been spectacular. High-flying marks, goals on the run, it's opening up and it's turning into a classic.
Love that Ben Keys left footy. He tends to find at least one in the showdowns, and again Port Adelaide looking vulnerable. If Aaliyah doesn't have time to get set for intercept and the Crows can play back in there fast, Port Adelaide look really vulnerable when the ball spills.
Big centre bounce.
Huge centre bounce past the 30-minute mark of this third term. Ben Keys admitted during the week he was a bit down against Brisbane. Certainly bounced back with 2 goals tonight. In the middle of the ground, Sam Berry bursts through, takes it straight off the ruckman's hands. Inside the forward 50, flying with Thilthorpe, brings it to ground. Roving is Rankin. He runs to his pocket, snaps around the body, but kicks it into his pocket. Out of bounds on the full in front of the scoreboard. So no score there, Port. Still 7-7, 49. The Crows 6-9, 45 late in this third term of Showdown 59.
So the crowd just resets a bit, reboots. Here we go. Strapping themselves in for what's going to be a thrilling finish. Kick out towards left half back. Wines flies, couldn't control it. Second bite lands towards Berry and they hit the deck. Get a ball up, right half forward for the Crows. Tapped down by Sweet. Wines collapses into the peel. It shoots out. Saligo up towards the scoreboard. Toby Murray. darted to his left, slid across in time, takes the mark close to the boundary line. It's a tight angle. Big Muzz, or the younger Muzz, gets the shot in front of the light tower.
And that's what Saligo adds to the midfield, having him back in. It's that ability to burst away. Some great contested players in there for the Crows, but the leg drive out of there is what can open up the game.
His older brother Nick had 3 in the Sandful showdown earlier. Port Adelaide winning that by 20 points. Now it's Toby's turn. The mid-season pickup. Just his 3rd game and his first ever showdown. Toby Murray on the tight angle produces a miracle. Mini Muzz has got a ton of class. They come from everywhere to celebrate, and Adelaide is in front for the first time since the 9-minute mark. They're up by 2 in showdown 59, 7-9-51. Port Adelaide 7-7-49. A minute to go in the third. Lauren Arnell, Matthew Clark, your experts on ABC Sport.
Well, it's the time in front half that we talked about was Port Adelaide's absolute trademark over the last few weeks. And it's been the Crows' game in this second part of the third quarter, and just their ability to keep the ball in their front half after missed opportunities and then the re-entry.
Yeah, and if we think back to the first quarter, they had a period of about 7 or 8 minutes of this football, but got no reward for it. This quarter, they've finally hit the scoreboard, and that's an amazing finish from a young man in his first showdown.
First showdown and first ever AFL goal. What a moment for Toby Murray. Visentini flies through that ruck contest. Missed everything. Horne-Francis pulled off the footy. Drew's there with Burgoyne. He's tackled as he kicks it, just dropped it. Here's Saligo again. Free kick was paid. It's Toby Murray on the lead. Saligo-Murray combo. He marks 35 out in a 45-degree angle to the left. A deja vu here for the Crows.
We spoke pre-game about the Stars being the ones to watch, but sometimes a young fella can come into a big game and make it his moment. Could this be it?
Going for back-to-back goals. As Aaron mentioned, they hadn't led since the 9-minute mark of the first quarter. Looking to extend the margin late in the third term. Toby Murray strolls in, hits the footy. It's away to the right, but it's bending back. Back-to-back for Toby. Back-to-back for the Crows. In fact, it's 3 in a row. They lead by 8 points, 8-9-57. Port 7-7-49. Dying seconds of the third term in the showdown.
This is what you have to love about showdowns, Doc. It's just the riding the wave of emotion, and now the Adelaide home crowd getting behind this team, and the celebrations even just from the mark inside 50 that we see from the Adelaide players is incredible, and just gained ascendancy. 62% time in front half for the Crows in this quarter.
Yeah, there are a couple down on the bench. It has been obviously an emotional week, and sometimes you need an emotional lift, and those last 2 goals have certainly given the Crows that and brought the crowd into the game in a big way.
Backs against the wall, but they just won't stop swinging the Crows. Up by 8. Home crowd rising to support them. Final stages of the third. McAndrew down. Crumbing was Vicentini, though. Quick kick forward, tumbling towards the arc. Time might beat them. And how about the response from the Adelaide faithful? They were down 13 points. Now they're up by 8. And we're headed towards a grandstand finish on ABC Sport. Mentioned it in the pre-game. 34% of them are thrillers. You can add this to the list. It might not have been the best affair, but it's certainly going to the wire. 8-9-57 to Port Adelaide 7-7-49. Goals scored heading into the final term. 2 to Keys, Rochelle and Toby Murray, who hadn't had a goal heading into tonight. First showdown, third game, doubles up back-to-back. Meanwhile, Rankin and Pedler with singles. Port Adelaide have 2 through Georgiades and Durden, and Vicentini and Wines and Butters all with 1 apiece as well. Could go either way. You don't really want to go anywhere. That being said, over at Docklands, it's a similar finish. Fremantle by 11 at the 31-minute mark. You think they might be home, but you've probably got enough time if you want to duck over and come back on ABC Listen. It's a great night of footy. And Andrew Dillon, if you're listening, I know you're in the crowd, probably doesn't have the analogue with him. Geez, split up these games because we've had 2 tremendous contests tonight. Finished a showdown 59 coming your way next on ABC Local Radio, Sport Digital and ABC Listen. This is Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
There's no doubt that country music is bigger than ever right now. Join me, Outback Tom, as I get you around the artists that are blazing a trail. Listen to Country Club, Sunday night at 6 on ABC Country or anytime you like on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2026 AFL Premiership season with ABC Sport.
Into the 50, he was looking for Thilthorpe, knocked away by Aaliyah, but it bobbles straight to Rochelle from 25. Josh Rochelle gets the gift and welcomes the package. Gets stuck into a few power players, but no sellies just yet. Rochelle with 2. Now Ollie Wines, left half forward. The Hornet kept running, and he's got a bit of buzz as he zigs through 2 into the 50. Georgiades! Great hanger in the left forward pocket. Set shot to come, 10 out, and there's a big story for the Crows. Meanwhile, Josh Money.
Yeah, Alex Neil-Bullen, who obviously missed that game at the Gabba with a knee issue, has just limped to the bench, clutching at his knee in the hands of the Dogs at the moment.
Mitch Georgiades opens the angle, snaps from 20, and has 2 on the night.
And Andrew Dillon on the big screen, he's been booed by the Crows fans.
Everyone's getting a serve tonight.
On the centre wing, handball from Thilthorpe, clever from Rankin, knocked it inboard to Cumming. He set sail from 50.
Come on.
And make no mistake with that one. That is not coming back. That's straight through the middle from Isaac Rankin.
McKinlay now up towards Sweet. This will hurt Adelaide. He turns through the centre square, heads to Mitch Georgiades, ball A's backtracking, knocked out, Vicentini runs into goal. Big Dante with his first of the season. Worrell back inside 50 for Adelaide. They converge 40 from home, Pedler flies, bopped off his chest, Curtin gets it wide, Ben Keys screws it from 30. Adelaide's back in the hunt. Keys has 2.
The AFL on ABC Sport.
On radio.
ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And ABC Listen.
It's a showdown jam-packed with emotion. The first half felt like this ugly brawl, but we stuck fat. We went to couples counselling and we've got through, and the second half has rewarded us. We have got an epic coming our way. Adelaide by 8 at three-quarter time. 8-9-57 to Port Adelaide, 7-7-49. Crows have a ton of injuries though, so Walker with a hamstring out in the first quarter, and Josh Money's not looking great for Jordan Butts either.
No, it's not looking good at all. Aaron, he came from the rooms a short time ago, but with ice on that groin, so he looks like he's done for the game. As you mentioned, Taylor Walker already out, so ahead at the moment, Crows, but we'll have to hold on without their bookends. Just on the Port Adelaide side of things, Logan Evans had an ankle towards the end of that third quarter, but looks to be okay, but just one to keep an eye on.
So Port Adelaide will have a little bit of a sniff, down 2 goals, but you feel like, considering the names that are out there, there's a chance they could pick this back. It's been a seesawing affair, low scoring, and they're headed towards an epic finish. Lauren Arnell, Matthew Clark, what happens from here?
Well, we talked a lot about emotion pre-game, and I loved that third quarter. As much as the Crows got on top, I thought just the ability to dominate and control the game was so important for them. +9 inside 50s, +6 tackles. They're working harder, more of the footy, and it's felt like for the first half, Port Adelaide, whenever it was at centre bounce, it's absolutely to their advantage, and the Crows really got on top in the clearance area as well, +6, and it's a test now for Port Adelaide's maturity under Josh Carr. Can you continue to respond when a team throws every punch at you, but really should be down on the mat with the injuries that they've had to Walker and Butts?
Yeah, I just want to call out 2 of the young mids. So I think Sam Berry's had 12 tackles in the game, and Jake Saligo coming in off an interrupted run. He's had 17 possessions, but not just the possessions, the quality of, the ability to burst away in that quarter. Pivotal in setting up that little run that the Crows got. But there's a long way to go in this game. So the way this plays out, it feels as though the Crows are vulnerable down back with Butts out. And so if they can get some midfield dominance, then I can see them obviously coming well back into this. Is there a slight breeze heading towards the southern end? Maybe. But I think it all comes down to the midfield, and it's these young guys that are going to have to stand up against the stars of Port Adelaide.
Full time at Docklands, Fremantle, top of the table. They beat the Western Bulldogs by 12, 17-12, 114 to 15-12, 102. Here, though, it's all about pride and potentially a spot in the top 10. Adelaide and Port Adelaide in showdown 59, both at 3 and 4. It feels like a pivotal moment in their seasons. Gee, there's a couple of names vying for the showdown medal tonight. Wayne Miller with 24. Alia's been good down back. Ollie Wines has got the collection at the moment, trying to complete it. He's got a Brownlow, an All-Australian, a Cahill medal, a Badco medal. Just needs the showdown to complete what is an excellent career. Zach Butters with 22 as well. Here we go. Final quarter of an epic showdown. It's Adelaide by 8. McAndrew down. Rankin onto the drop, but left it behind, and Horne-Francis gathers, pushes off and breaks away. Explosive out of the middle. Low kick, bounce towards Dante Vicentini. The tall man just couldn't get low enough to gather it. Hits his shins. Neil Bullen uses Cook. Then Worrell swings the handball inboard. Berry decides to take on McKinlay and wins out. Brushes him away with ease. Down the line go the Crows. Up to Neil Bullen, a fumble, but he regathers on the bounce. Logan Evans closes. He gets the handball off to Keys. Marches by Farrell. Ben Keys into the 50. Rochelle bounced off Lockie Jones. Ball did the same in his direction. He's pulled away by Bergman. Play continues towards the line. Toby Murray becomes the tackler. Boundary throw in, 25 out.
Shelley playing for the free kick there in a dangerous spot. Couldn't convince the umpire. So we'll have a boundary throw in. Inside 50 for the Crows. McAndrew knocks it down towards Cook and Miller. Miller handballs to Rankin. Kicks around the body towards the top of the square. Looking for Toby Murray, but Miles Bergman read it best. Takes intercept mark right back pocket for Port Adelaide. Short to Alia. Deep in defence for Port Adelaide, who are trailing by 8 points. Plays on now. Kicks up towards the wing, and Whitlock, he was pushed under it there by Max Michaelani. Cleverly done, because Big Max took the intercept mark.
It's a stronger body, better aerial craft from Michaelani.
Michaelani into the 50, spots a hole, lets the marching Toby Murray get there. 3 bites, he lets it slip. Neil Bullen comes with the assist though, hands it to Curtin. Curtin from 50 says why not, and has a crack. Hits the right hand upright. Adelaide by 9, early stages. Final term of Showdown 59 on ABC Sport.
McElhaney's ability to play on the tall is going to be crucial in this last quarter.
So set up well here, Adelaide. Forcing Logan Evans to just bomb one long. McAndrew's in front of Sweet. Drop the mark. Gathered by Berry. Off to Peatling to Rankin. Short ball to Curtin. Is nice. 55 from home. Flatter ball to Keys, who marks inside the 50, 45 degree angle away to the right.
Curtin started this quarter on a wing, direct opponent being Jace Burgoyne, and just with the repeat entries for the Crows, he's found himself in some really good spots, and nice touch to start this last quarter.
So Keys has got 2 on the night. Sometimes just runs around a little bit onto his left foot. Sometimes starts them too far left. And he comes, as predicted, runs around, steps on the paint of 50, unloads from 50! Ben Keys has 3! And the Crows have kicked 4 on the trot. They're up by 15 points, 9-10-64, Port 7-7-49. 3 minutes gone, final term.
Long way to go, but a good start from the Crows in this quarter, bringing the pressure, getting that ball locked in the front half once again.
There's been a lot of talk about Rankin and Rochelle and how much centre ball up time they get, and we've seen a really hot start from Rankin in this last quarter, and he's going inside again and often has been matched up directly to Horne-Francis at CB, and Port Adelaide is sticking with Sweet, Drew, Butters, Horne-Francis, and the Crows, Rankin, Berry, Peatling and McAndrew.
Last 7 scoring shots the way of the Crows. Port Adelaide must stem the bleeding. Sweet looks for Horne-Francis, engulfed by Peatling before the ball even reached him. Knocked it towards Butters, they give it away. McAndrew thumps it forward. Would have landed in the lap of Philthorpe, but it bounced off his chest. Alia gathers, hot handball out to Drew. He's spun in the washing machine. Rankin brings him down. And we'll get a ball up.
It was a nice centre bounce play from Port, but they just couldn't quite get it to the outside.
Centre half forward for the Crows. McAndrew down. Awkward bounce for Berry. Pitched wayward. Drew can't control it either. Bit of a slippery footy right now. Bar of soap. Durden dives in. Took out the knees of his teammate Drew. Below the knees. Free kick to your own team. Ball up centre square. Adelaide's up by 15. Crows fans are really locked in now. Sold out crowd. Their home game. Down early, up late. Sweet down. Picked up by McAndrew. He's steamrolled by Joe Richards. Lucky McAndrew one out against Sweet and Vicentini tonight. Sweet down, straight to Miller though. Shoots the handball to Peatling. Spiral towards the 50. It bounces in front of Thilthorpe. Foot race on. Alias tracking with him. The tap towards Rochelle. Beautiful flick back to Thilthorpe. Both Port defenders committed. And Josh Rochelle with the goal assist of the year. Sets up Riley Thilthorpe for the snap from 40. That is a masterclass in assisting your big man. Josh Rochelle gets it to Thilthorpe. Adelaide have the last 5 and they're up by 21. 10-10-70 to Port 7-7-49. 5 played final term.
What I love about that is in the coach's box, they're probably saying, let's just take it out, let's reset the ground, but the creative player sees something that we mere mortals don't, and he finds Thilthorpe with a backhander. Unbelievable.
And the stoppage dominance from the Crows in this quarter so far, it's looked like a couple of times Port have come out the front with first possession, but the pressure and the way that the Crows mids have turned up, we know that they got an absolute cook post the Brisbane loss and absolutely torn apart from that Brisbane game. And geez, they're showing up now, those Adelaide mids.
The Crows are just steamrolling here in the second half of the showdown. Berry took on Durden, dropped the footy. He lowers the eyes and hits Georgiades. Oh, Berry had the clearance in his hands. Yeah,
well, it's the exact play that Lauren just described, except that this time it was Port that brought the pressure and created the turnover after Berry had a clean possession.
Perfect delivery from Durden to Georgiades. He's going to have a set shot, 35 out directly in front. And Port, boy, understatement of the year. Do they need this? You can hear the boos. Trying to put Big Mitch off in his 100th game. Georgiades, a perfect drop punt and has his third. And finally, after a run of 5 goals against, Port get one back, 8-7-55. Adelaide 10-10-70. 7 minutes gone in the final term.
Game on.
I think in that first sort of half and a bit, Port had the ascendancy at centre ball up, and now it's absolute evens. 10 wins to either side, and geez, it makes for such a good showdown, doesn't it, Doc? These are the moments where it's just so important to win CB. You've got your best forwards ahead of the play for Port Adelaide. Time is ticking.
Yeah, and it just highlights the need for dynamic players that can, stick a tackle in a big area of space. So that was critical for Port right there.
Cracking finish to showdown 59. Adelaide by 15. Tossed into the air, McAndrew swats it forward on the bounce. Saligo was there, but Butters got to it first. Paddles it back to Drew. Then Sweet, a sweeping low handball to Durden, put him into trouble. Miller up, wraps him up, centre half forward for the Power.
I like Corey Durden, but that was really poor for him to call for the handball from Sweet. They just need to get inside 50 to Georgiades.
Sweet down, sharked though by Saligo, crunched into by Butters. The ball bobbles out to Berry. Kicks to the eastern side, bounces awkwardly for Toby Murray, who committed to the drop. Burgoyne out the back, hot handball didn't quite work for Byrne-Jones. He's buffeted it away. Rochelle squares it up. Taylor now was in a world of space, but it has to come back. Darcy Byrne-Jones taken off the footy by Keys. Free right half back. Port Adelaide down 15 after being up 13. Crowd's just seen the replay, not overly happy with the call. Wide 45 to Jacob Ware. Puts up a prayer down the line. Whitlock again.
Oh, yeah.
Big contested grab in a pack. Pops up quickly and releases Butters. Surging to right half forward. Butters will screw it. 25 out. Logan Evans flies out the back. Georgiades thought he had the mark. Too many fingertips and they're not giving it to him. He stops and waits for the tackle, and it will be a ball up 20 out. Where's the arc now? Port need one. Sweet takes it out of the ruck, threw it on the boot, straight towards Whitlock, 5 metres away. He can't get the connection. Berry picks his pocket, handball out wide. Laird can't find a teammate, charging through. Durden put his body in, comes out, check side Moraes. No one sitting back except for the Crows. Dan Curtin, right back pocket, takes the intercept mark. Adelaide by 15.
Short to Miller. It's been so good tonight. Possession number 27 coming up Kicking efficiency at 86%. Kicks down the line. Pedler was bumped out of it by Lai. Ball gets out over the back to Shelley. Kicking board. It's a dangerous one, but Sam Berry was too strong in front of Sweet. He's really surged in this second half, Sam Berry.
He's had a huge game. 547 metres gained from Berry, and enormous defensive pressure, as Doc pointed out earlier.
Kick down towards Curtin on centre wing. Dropped the mark, but goes for a second effort. Quick kick is smothered by Logan Evans. Handballs to Darcy Byrne-Jones. His 45 kick was great to Sweet, but he dropped the chest mark. Handball from Sam Berry to McAndrew. He dropped the ball. The ruckman can't hold it. The quick kick inside the forward 50 was wasted, though. Marked by Josh Worrell at centre-half back for Adelaide.
The young power lacking composure at the moment. Cook for the Crows. Heads out wide. In front of the Bashir stand, Ben Keys chips it through the logo. Neil Bullen. Adelaide's up by 15. Neil Bullen now true centre wing. Runs around inside towards the 50. Murray's got 3 to beat, and Aaliyah from behind juggles it in. Who would want to be a showdown medal voter tonight? So many options. We've got one in this box. He's having a rough one. Out wide, Josh Lai. Long searching kick back up the eastern side. Butts, not Butts, he's off for the game. Worrell in front position. Couldn't take it, hits the deck. Should repeat that. Butts and Taylor Walker out for the Adelaide Crows.
The good news is that the showdown is now a standalone game on Friday night.
Out on centre wing, Saligo. It was tackled by Wines, and yet just couldn't get his fist in there for the handball. Good tackle from the Brownlow medalist, holding the footy. So Port have it centre wing, outer side of the ground. Wind swirling away, kicks it up towards right half forward, and flying way to her was Peatling in the back of Butters. I'm not sure how that's not a free kick. Adelaide win the footy through coming to Saligo. He jumped as he handballed, clever to Keys, flicks it back to Cook, kicks it off the ankle on purpose, and on the outside of the boot, I should say, and finds Toby Murray. Perfect pass, very skillful. Ball centre of the wing, kicks up towards left half forward, and Aaliyah, and he's copped one over the back from Pedler over the head. How's that not a free kick? Port trying to handball out of the fence through Lai, got it to Berry, and they've kept it in here, Adelaide. Looks like it will come back. Throw in left half forward for the Crows.
Well, Port had the rub of the green with the umpires in the first half, but they have been stitched up a couple of times in the last couple of minutes, so it's a square up.
Massive showdown crowd tonight, 53,045. That is a huge result. Toss back in, Adelaide by 15 points. Off hands, Peatling throws it on the boot towards the left forward pocket. Rochelle outmatched against Aaliyah.
Starting to make a case.
Well,
He is.
He's looking pretty good down back, but it's not going to be enough.
That's Aaliyah's 12th mark for the game.
They still need some scoring. Port Adelaide down 15. He passes short to Byrne-Jones, and then Christian Moraes now has it. Left half back. So that'll be the 4th highest showdown crowd in history. Up the corridor go the power. They want to go end to end. Bergman in the centre circle takes the mark. Turns to Butters. Hard pass as he strikes into the 50 to Georgiades. Straight in front.
Set play from Port Adelaide. As soon as Richards had the footy in D50, took that mark. Bergman flew off half back, and all the time in the world and all the space opened up for him in the middle of the ground. And I just love that forward handball to Butters, and it gives Georgiades the very best look to tick back up at his teammate. An easy, uncontested mark.
Excellent slingshot. Port Adelaide need a hero. Can it be the milestone man? Mitch Georgiades from 45. They roar early because it was never a chance. Started right, misses, and it's Adelaide by 14 points.
Just got too close, jammed himself up.
Voice of Matthew Clark alongside Lauren Arnell on ABC Sport. Going to the wire here at the Adelaide Oval. Out to the left back pocket go the Crows near the light tower. Isaac Rankin to clear it out towards the eastern side. Kick isn't great. Getting in front of Toby Murray is Josh Lai. He's just behind right half forward, looking for an entry here for Port Adelaide. Lai drills it, 30 from home. McKinlay the target, fist came in, spills out. Moraes does a full 720, hits the deck. 40 out from home. We'll get a ball up inside Port Adelaide's 50, trailing by 14 points. A warm welcome to everyone joining us from the MCG. Adelaide by 14, Port Adelaide inside 50. Epic finish to showdown 59 coming your way. Out of the stoppage, Rory Laird bowled over. We'll get a ball up, centre half forward for Port Adelaide. Aaron Bryans, Tom Wilson, Lauren Arnell, Matthew Clark with you. It's been a odd game. First half sluggish, second has been electric. We're going to the wire on ABC Sport.
Saligo handballs from centre half back towards Keys, who wraps up Burgoyne in the tackle. Have another ball up. 15 minutes gone in the final term. Crows kicked 5 straight goals. Port with the last one. But most of the momentum going the Crows' way. Ware hard in there on Peatling. Tries to get the handball to Thilthorpe, but Ware goes in again. His quick kick lands in the lap of Rankin at centre half back. Asked to play on by the umpire. Steps across, goes a 45 kick. Up towards Keys, lies with a clever fist out towards the boundary line. Saligo versus Moraes. Saligo over the top, holds it in, will have a ball up. Left half forward for Adelaide, outer side of the ground. They lead by 14 points.
If you just joined us, Port by 12 at the first change, 6 at the half. Low scoring affair, just 7 goals in the first half. Now it's opened up. Out of the stoppage, tapped down to Peatling. Surges away, heading inside 50. Murray entangled with Aaliyah. Whistle, and they're paying the mark to Aaliyah, who has been terrific tonight. His intercept marking is through the roof.
Yeah, so we had Thilthorpe who gets the clearance, but then, of course, we want Thilthorpe down there to catch it. So what do you do?
Tried to wait the kick out to Joe Richards back with the flight, but he was tracked by Neil Bullen, puts it down. Dan Curtin runs in, throwing the body on the line is Max Michaelani, getting across Horne-Francis. Ball up to come at the attacking edge. Taylor Walker out of the game, hamstring injury first term. Jordan Butts as well, also out with a leg issue. Means that Adelaide are 2 down in the final stages here, but up by 14.
Visentini knocks it down towards Wines. Back to Visentini, to Moraes. Just throws that in the boot. The free kick's going to come all the way back. So Wines will get the footy.
Gives Port Adelaide time to reset their forward line. The Crows are starting to congest stoppage to try and take heat out of the game, which means they only had 3 players ahead of the ball, Port.
So Wines thought about a short kick, but will go long towards Georgiades. McKinlay at the front takes the mark. Not many players to kick to with Georgiades on the deck. Handballs to Farrell. We know he can use it well. Over the back is Berry. Joe Berry marks at the top of the square. Had his eyes on it the whole way, and he plays on and kicks the goal. He nearly stuffed it. I'm sorry. Why do they do this? The coach is sitting next to me. Why do they do it? 9-8-62. Berry gets his first. Adelaide 10-10, 17.5 minutes gone final term.
Farrell's leg is a weapon. It's that extra 10 metres which makes that play possible. The Crows actually look really well set defensively, but his ability to penetrate gets it over the back, and yes, then they made a hard work of it. What should have been a very easy moment.
And all of a sudden it's an 8-point game, guys.
Yeah, and I feel Port have had the better of this last 4 or 5 minutes. So, you know, we spoke about the short turnaround, and is that going to be a factor? And, you know, I was pretty adamant that it wasn't. But as you get into this last 7 or 8 minutes of the game, there's no doubt that there'll be some fatigued boys out there.
What a game we've got. Year in, year out, it delivers 34% of the time. Showdowns are thrilling finishes. Best rivalry in the game in comparison. You can look it up against Geelong and Hawthorn, Carlton, Collingwood, Western Derby, Battle of the Bridge. It is the best of the lot. And it's heading down again. Sweet towards Horne-Francis, ripped off the ball by Berry. And a holding free kick going his way. Was spun in the tackle, dropped it early. Crows fans incensed. There's been a couple of topical decisions tonight. Jason Horne-Francis looks caught in 2 minds. Looked left, went that way in the end after zigging right, and his kick to Berry knocked away by the fist of Hugh Bond. Boundary throw in to come. All the heavy hitters in the house. Andrew Dillon's here, Peter Malinauskas is here. All the Tassie Scouts are here, Loz.
Good game to watch.
Tossed in, Sweet down, sharked, coming off a step, hooks it around the body. Toby Murray has had a standout man-making game tonight. Meets the footy and knocks it to Berry, buffeted off his kick, rolls back to Byrne-Jones. He uses Butters, who races for Port Adelaide back through left half-back. Uses Kane Farrell and then gets it back. Butters up to disposal 27. Heads to the defensive edge to Logan Evans. Has the run of Aaliyah.
They're out.
Who's got out of the exit of defensive 50. Aaliyah driving kick to Jack Whitlock. Another high-flying grab. 55 out in the one-on-one. His contested marking has been terrific. He's just got to finish it here. He'll share it wide. Jacob Ware still 53 out. Right in front of the Wanganeen stand. Crows by 8. Jacob Ware puts up a prayer. Cathedral end. Jack Whitlock floated forward and gets the footy back. Jumping Jack at the top of the goal square. My goodness, this is going to be electric.
Yeah, obviously the loss of Butts, but Jordan Sweet really important there as well. So McAndrew was getting back to help aerial support. Sweet pushed really hard, kept him on the ground, and that allows Whitlock to jump and take this mark.
It's been a game you wouldn't rewatch anytime soon.
Second half, mate. Come on, it's been great.
I was going to say, for Jack Whitlock, it might be a match-making moment. Whitlock in his first showdown drills it over the goal umpire's hat and into the hill of frustrated Crows supporters. And the noise silences at the Adelaide Oval. Margin is just 2 in showdown 59. 10-10-70 Adelaide. Port 10-8-68. 5 to go on ABC Sport.
Well, this is where the cream rises to the top, isn't it? And as a coach, Doc, you're checking the magnets and making sure you've got your absolute best out there, and particularly at this centre ball up. Ollie Wines has just come on the ground from raise and gone straight in there.
Yeah, rotations are an interesting one, aren't they? At this point of the game, obviously fatigue's a factor, but yeah, you want to make sure you've got all of your stars aligned and get them all out on the ground and in the centre bounce ideally. So let's have a look. We've got Butters, Wines, and who's on the far side?
Drew with Jordan Sweet.
Back in the middle of the ground, Port trail by 2. Sweet tries to take it out, tackled by Berry. He's a tackling machine. It's number 16. Another ball up. Sweet knocks it forward. Who can run onto that? Cook leads Ware in the race. Ware lays the tackle. Fell out in the tackle, says the umpire. Wines, Durden, Berry, the Joe variety, tackled by the Sam variety.
Every contest crucial from here on out.
Ware's had some good moments too. The 15 disposals, almost 500 metres gained on a wing. He's worked his tail off.
A lot of contributors tonight for both teams. Butters, handballs to Farrell. Butters again, McAndrew, Pedler, Berry, all laying tackles. And we'll have another ball up near the centre circle. Crows leading by 2 points. 22 minutes gone in the final term.
McAndrew down to Berry, gets it to Saligo. He brushes off McKinlay. He's running backwards, losing ground. Has to kick off balance up to left half forward. Pitches backwards on Ben Keys, but Rankin's there with the assist. Well tracked. Gets the handball to Neil Bullen. Turns it left half forward. Into the pocket he goes. Juggling 3 bites. Rochelle knocked away late by Aaliyah with a desperate swat as he nearly reeled it in. Rochelle's pleading his case. He won't get the free. Tossed in 10 out.
The ability to hold balance around the stoppage, as it gets more and more intense, the desire to get inside can cost you if you lose the outside.
McAndrew gets front position, knocked it down, but straight to Wines. He flung it out to Ware. Tackled as he kicked it, dropped short, 35 out. Berry's there, couldn't take the mark, gets the second attempt. Paddled it to Michaelani, but it bounced off his bootlaces. Now coming, tries to sidestep 3 and loses the footy in the process.
Joe Berry.
Free kick, Port Adelaide, defensive 50 down 2.
So Drew takes it out wide to Lai. Too much on it. Pedler chopped his arms. So he misjudged it there, Lai. Pedler thinks he's going to get the ball for Lasso, but he better throw it back quick. Lai plays on. Pumps it down the line. Ugly looking kick. McKinlay touches it in time. And the Crows fans want a lasso, but didn't see the touch. We'll have a throw in. It's about 80 metres from Port's goal. They're trailing by 2 points. Really got the heart rate going up here in the commentary box. Imagine what it's like for the 53,000 Crows fans and the 400 or so Port fans down there. Boundary throw in. Sweet knocks it down. Sam Berry, what a star he's been tonight. His handball is knocked down though by Joe Richards, a good 1%, and we'll have another boundary throw in.
Port rolled the dice a little bit at that stoppage. Ewan McKinlay was a late sub. with Joe Richards coming onto the ground. So it left Berry by himself, but Richards, with the speed and fresh legs off the bench, was able to squash that handball.
No Taylor Walker, no Jordan Butts. Jordan Dawson not there tonight. The Crows hanging on, up by 2. Tossed in, tapped down. Drew gets it to Wines, then Butters. He's breaking away from Peatling, kicks it across the body towards the 50. Borlase in front. Georgiades panics, grabs the jumper, free kick, going the way of the Crows, and now they find their voice. The Adelaide faithful, 53,000 in attendance, the 4th highest crowd in showdown history. Borlase on return, heads to the eastern side. Thilthorpe flew early, lands in the lap of Burne-Jones out the back. True centre wing. Port led from the 9-minute mark of the first all the way to the 32-minute mark of the third. It's been Adelaide since. Down the line, couple of flyers. Horne-Francis early, and then over the back. Worrell takes the intercept mark. Adelaide move it back towards the Odie stand. Alex Neil-Bullen, the premiership demon, knows all about big games. Searching kick to left half forward. Aaliyah nearly cuts it off, but gets it on the bounce. He handed it away, though, straight to Thilthorpe. Uses Berry, bangs it high and long into the night sky. 3 power players converge. Hitting the deck at the back was Taylor. Pulled off it. No free kick. They'll ask the question again, the home crowd, but it will be a ball up, 45 out. Inside 50 for the Crows.
Sweet knocks it down towards Cook. Clean to Rankin. Going to be a throw.
Wow, okay.
Against Cook. Interesting.
Umpire was in perfect position for it.
Not too much complaint from the Crows players either.
Which team's going to be brave with the ball? Oh, that's not a great kick.
That was brave. Missed 2 Port players. Bergman got it. Goes the handball back towards Lockie Jones. Curtin in there with the 1%er. Farrell. Zach Taylor dived on it, got it to Keys. Handball to Miller. Unloads from 50. That is an unbelievable goal from Wayne Miller. A team effort. The icing on the cake, the cherry on top, whatever you want to say. Wayne Miller. That might have got you the 3 votes. Adelaide, 11-10-76. Controversial. It was a push in the back.
No, I think they've called it touched.
Push in the back. Free to Logan Evans. No goal. Adelaide by 2, and Port quickly move it to the eastern side. Pandemonium in showdown 59. The State absolutely losing its marbles. Up the middle. The kick to Bergman, who turns. Adelaide's napping. Inside 50. Port Adelaide look to strike. Georgiades the target. Couple of flyers of the Crows. Georgiades stays down. Hands it to Durden. Curling it from 20. He misses across the face. 1 point game.
Wow.
What is going on?
Can we just make sure there's a security detail for the blokes in yellow at the end of this game?
Just had a replay there. I just missed it. I did not see any.
Rochelle
it must have been
just
off the ball.
clattered into Logan Evans on the goal line.
Evans ended up in the fence.
Wow. So Port trailing by 1. Kick out of defence from Adelaide. Jordan Sweet takes the mark. Almost 28 minutes gone. Sweet goes back inside the forward 50. Horne-Francis flies, brings it to ground. Boundary throw in. Could it get any more tense?
So the Crows have got a number behind. Only 5 forwards ahead at the moment. So where's the extra?
Boundary throw in deep in Port Adelaide's forward line. Sweet knocks it down. Wines to Durden. Handballs forward. Georgiades there. Peatling happy to get this out over the boundary line.
So 1 point game, forward 50 stoppage. As Port Adelaide, you just want to keep the ball alive and always want to congest the field space. They're happy with repeat stoppage. If you can get a clearing kick, you'll take that. But Port have a +2 outside 50, so they can get them on re-entry if they need.
Adelaide by a point in showdown 59. Tossed in. McAndrew got the tap, then became the tackler on Sweet. Rankin piles in. Ball up 30 out.
So Port Adelaide's 2 spares are in the corridor. Crows have to exit wide.
Tossed up McAndrew. Hollywood tap overhead looking for Neil-Bullen. Cut off by Ware. Over the footy, but won't really take control. He knows he's in trouble. Coming in, Durden makes an effort, forces the ball up. 45 out. Port's 50. Anything will do. Tap down, Wines, shoots the handball. McKinlay curls it from 45. Ewan McKinlay got it to Berry, and he curls it from 40 home to be the hero in the showdown. Joe Berry puts Port Adelaide up by 5. Oh my goodness, what a finish. Crows fans will be incensed.
Got to own the outside of the contest. The Crows had the extra on the goal line, but the action's happening up 40 metres away.
Joe Berry curling it from 30. And Port Adelaide strike. They're up by 5 in the dying stages.
The play now for the Crows is you've got to score, obviously. Less than a minute on the clock. You're down by 5 points. They've got to either spike the ball or hit backwards so they can get some forward momentum out of CB.
All the boards are up. We can see the halfbacks about to charge off the line here.
And Todd Marshall will drop as a spare off a wing for Port Adelaide, try and create the outnumber defensively.
Port Adelaide with the last 4 goals of the game and maybe to pinch the showdown back in the middle of the ground. Miller came off the back line. Free kick going the way of Isaac Rankin. 35 seconds left. Rankin pumps it inside the forward 50. Up towards Thilthorpe. Curtin flew. Roved by Lockie Jones. Handball to Bergman. Butters quick kick out. Miller takes it on. Durden wraps him up in the tackle. Handball to Curtin. Cook runs inside the forward 50. Would this be the winner? Oh my goodness! What is he cooking? What are we seeing in Showdown 59? Braden Cook puts the Crows back in front with 11 seconds to go.
So this is one of the 34%, I reckon. One of those close ones.
11-10-76 Adelaide Port, 11-9-75, 31 minutes gone.
And all the young blokes having their moment, yeah? Amazing.
11 seconds, it's long enough. It's enough time
yeah.
from centre ball up. It's enough time to score. Todd Marshall's gone forward. He's the swing man when Port Adelaide need a play. And Horn Francis on a wing, not at the centre ball up.
Braden Cook, the unlikely hero.
Tap's going wide to Horn Francis.
Showdowns are all about moments. It's Adelaide by a point. Do Port have one last roll of the dice? Out of the middle, it's tapped towards Wines. Fresh area on the half volley. Picked up by the Crows. Berry gets the clearing kick. Ben Keys has it. Siren. After an emotional week, stacked full of injuries, Adelaide rises off the canvas to one. They land one last knockout blow and win Showdown 59 by a point.
Admiration of the nation, our determination shows. We're the pride of South Australia, where the mighty Adelaide grows.
Braden Cook, the hero on the big stage, gets Adelaide up in what was a seesawing affair at the death. Ugly first half, Port by 6 at the major break, Adelaide by 8 at three-quarter time after a massive run of 4 or 5 goals. Couple of contentious calls. You can hear the cheers for the umpires. We went absolutely to the death. It looked like Adelaide had the match winner through Wayne Miller. Cancelled out. Joe Berry gets one back. Port by 5, and then at the death, Braden Cook gets the job done in Showdown 59. Adelaide 4-4, Port 3-5. What a night of footy. 53,000 erupting. The state on the knife's edge. We went right to the death. And once again, the Showdown has delivered. Big night of footy. Fremantle by 12 at Docklands. And Adelaide get the job done. 11-10-76 to 11-9-75. Goal scorers, 3 to Keys, 2 to Rochelle and Murray. Singles to Miller, Rankin, Cook, Pedler and Thilthorpe. For Port Adelaide, 2 to Georgiades and Durden. Singles to Vicentini, Whitlock, Wines, Butters and Berry. It's a lot to unpack. Thankfully, we've got a good 40 minutes to do so. Lauren Arnell, Matthew Clark, walk us through that finish.
Oh, that's a classic. That's a classic, and it'll go into the catalogue of unbelievable showdowns that we've been lucky enough to watch. But what I loved is, all of the young players that were influential in that final term, and then even earlier in the game. And I feel really bad for complaining about the standard of the match in the first half, because that was spectacular. Second half.
Us in the face,
a spectacular second half. Just highlights all over the place, and in the end, the ability for both teams in critical moments to get the ball to the outside of the contest and finish plays. I think defensively both teams will be looking at it and saying, should we have shut that down? But you just had to enjoy the contest, really.
Oh, what an epic last quarter and second half, to your point. But I thought the Crows' ability to just keep showing up and ride the wave of emotion that we've spoken about is just unbelievable. And I thought Port Adelaide threw many, many punches, and Aliir kept him in the game for so much of it.
Yeah, he was spectacular. What did he end up with intercept mark? It was
12,
some crazy number, yeah. But
8 for Aliir.
Oh, yeah.
14 marks for the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was, a large part of the game, it was a scrap in the first half, and it did sort of just bounce between the two back lines, with Miller mopping up at one end and Aliir at the other. But in the second half, the game actually was a really good spectacle. The contest stayed fierce, but both teams were able to flick the ball to the outside at times, and then we got to see them put their skills on show. So, yeah, footy lived up to the billing.
The fact that the Crows can do that without Walker since, halfway through the first quarter, Butts went down second quarter.
Yeah.
What an unbelievable team effort. Neil Bullen was sort of in and out a little bit with that knee complaint. For me, if you're a Crows supporter, you're walking out obviously enormously pumped. You've won the showdown by 1 point, but just shows so much heart and so much promise for so many of the experienced players that stepped up, but also those young guys you mentioned, Doc. And I thought even Borlase had some good moments, had a tough night against Georgiades from the most part, but a couple of big moments in that last quarter from him too.
Yeah, and ultimately, anytime the game swings under a goal, there's going to be a little bit of luck involved. So from the Port Adelaide perspective, if you assess where they are in their season, they got off to a really rocky start, but their last 3 weeks have been exceptional football. And so, they come out on the wrong end of this one. But even though, we spoke about the importance of staying ahead of the ledger, 3 and 5 is not disastrous.
Adelaide winners by a point in an epic showdown. Let's head downstairs with Jess Adamson.
The Children's Charity of South Australia has joined with both the Adelaide Football Club and the Port Adelaide Football Club to help make a greater impact on the lives of local children in need. This partnership sees both clubs compete to hold up the prestigious Variety Showdown Shield. Tonight, the Showdown Medal will be presented to the player judged best of field in tonight's game. We're joined by Variety SA Chair Selina Bushell and Variety Scholarship participant Kai Plummer to present tonight's Showdown Medal and Showdown Shield. And the winner of the Showdown Medal is Sam Berry.
29 touches, 7 inside 50, 7 first possessions. Sam Berry wins his first Showdown medal, and the man sitting next to me gave him 3 votes on the night.
Very relieved. You forgot the 19 tackles that he laid as well. Unbelievable in the second half.
Incredible performance. Here he is downstairs.
What a game. How good are showdowns. Big thanks to Port. Again, cracking contest. Thanks everyone for coming out, and cheers.
Absolute bulldozer is Sam Berry. Gets his first accolade in his young career.
Showdown 59, the Adelaide Football Club.
Roller coaster of emotions for the home crowd.
We invite tonight's captain, Alex Neil-Bullen.
They were hanging by a thread the entire final quarter. And Alex Neil-Bullen will come out to achieve the Showdown Shield that Adelaide has won in 6 of the last 7 meetings. They retain the South Australian crown. Here he is downstairs.
Thank you to Variety SA for your partnership with the Showdown. Both South Australian clubs are very proud to partner with such a great organisation. To Josh Carr and your team, you're having a great season. It's a privilege to have this healthy rivalry, and we'll see you again later in the year. To our boys, so bloody proud, and to our fans, we bloody love you. Well done.
Right at home, Alex Neil-Bullen.
done to both teams tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us for Showdown 59. Good night.
So Sam Berry with the most tackles in Showdown history and joins illustrious company in the history of the game. Rory Laird with the most ever with 20. Liberatore, Zeeble and Bolton with 19. So he becomes the fourth and technically equals second in the history of the AFL, Sam Berry, with his 19 tackles today. Amazing performance. So who'd you have as your 2 and your 1, Tom?
So I went Aliir with 2 votes. I thought, considering the inside 50, imbalance, 59 to 39, he stood up so strong back there, took 14 marks, was so important, not just on the one-on-ones, but the way he delivered the ball outside of the 50. And I just thought Wayne Miller's game, like from start to finish, he was probably the most consistent player on the ground. 29 touches, 4 tackles, inside 50. I just thought he mopped up so well, and he kicked it at 88%. But there were so many other players in contention. I mean, I love the game of Ben Keys with 3 goals. Josh Rochelle really sparked the Crows. And then you've got the midfielders at Port Adelaide of Zach Butters and Ollie Wines that had 30 touches. But Sarah Berry with the 3, Aliir with the 2, and Wayne Miller with the 1.
It's a pretty good effort. Up there with our ABC Sport experts, I reckon, in terms of their performances over the years.
Well, I hope so.
Oh, well done.
That was a big day.
Yeah.
Big day. Very, very enjoyable. Very enjoyable just to be at the footy and have a good seat and get to try not to be cheering too parochially for one side. But
you grew into the game as it progressed, I reckon, Doc, but you got the result that you were after at the end. Adelaide by a point. And another Showdown epic, 59th edition ends right at the death with Braden Cook, the unlikely hero. Just you kind of flagged it in the pre-game, guys, that Showdown's all about moments, and we've seen them through the years, and I don't think anyone anticipated Braden to be the guy who'd get them over the line.
I mean, to be fair to Braden Cook, if he can do anything really well, it's kick a ball.
Yeah,
it's so impressive, everything he does when he touches the footy. I really enjoy watching him play, and I'm looking forward to seeing his career evolve because he's got an absolute weapon by foot.
Yeah, he's got the step as well, so he can get in and out of a little bit of traffic and then execute really well. But if you think about the outcome, I think the medalist was well voted on by yourself because ultimately, if you think about the threat that the Port Adelaide midfield posed, how are you going to contain that? We need someone to be sticking a lot of tackles, and 19 is a phenomenal number of tackles, and then obviously won a fair chunk of his own ball as well. So a worthy winner of the medal. And I mentioned during the call, I think the addition of Saligo into that midfield didn't have as big a numbers, but it's just that little bit of zip and leg drive that comes away from the contest, which is really important. And the second half of the match was a great spectacle to watch because the ball did start to open up, and players like Horn Francis and Butters are always going to be able to do that, but the Crows started to have a few of their own in that bracket.
I just think the response from them is what really matters coming out of last week, and all of the things off field we've talked about, but on field we mentioned in the pre-game round 8. If you're going to get tidied up by the best team in the comp, you may as well happen in round 7, and then you show a response from round 8 onwards, and you learn a bit about yourselves. And that's what I've appreciated the most about this Crows Showdown win is those young guys that have stepped up, but also the response from players like Ben Keys. He kicked 3 goals tonight and played a really important role. And Berry, obviously the Showdown medal winner with how many tackles? Like that's grunt though. Like you get cleaned out by the best midfield in the comp the week before, and you show up with an absolute threat in front of you. And Wines is going back in time and playing an absolute pearler tonight. Butters turns up. Horn Francis I thought was quiet by his standards, but you got guys like Berry showing up with the grunt and the want for the contest. And the Crows to finish 81 tackles for the game in an AFL men's game is significant. And plus 20 inside 50 is just reward for the grunt inside.
Big differential in inside 50, and for a lot of the game, we were questioning whether their inefficiency was going to cost them. In the end, it nearly did, but they were good enough. And if you look at the win in the context of their season, they've now won 2 games at home by a point, and they get to sit at 4-4. That very easily could be 2-6, and that is a bit of a mountain to climb. So they're well positioned. Clearly some more injuries tonight, which is a concern. But if they can get some cavalry back, they'll certainly be amongst the teams that are going to influence the back end of the season. It's
one of those years they're just grinding it out, 4-4, and they haven't hit their full stride yet. And there's plenty of the season to play out, but it's a side that's getting the job done, or at least competitive against some of the better sides and losing by single-digit margins. and we haven't really seen them all together yet. And that's the exciting part. Is that, the world's the oyster for the Adelaide Crows if they can get everybody back in the next month or so, and then really start to open up their fixture. But to be able to do what they've done, we've got to give them a lot more flowers than I think they've been given. A lot of people had written them off, said that they weren't going to be competitive this year. The fixture was too hard. Maybe they were lucky with the draw they had last year to get to the minor premiership. But it's an incredible testament to their hardship to be able to get through everything they've been able to over the first couple of months, including tonight where you lose Tex early, you don't have your skipper, Jordan Butts goes down and you're down late. Braden Cook becomes the match winner. Adelaide get the job done in showdown 59, 11-10-76 to 11-9-75. We'll continue to unpack it, read through some of your texts as well. Fremantle winners by 12 at the Docklands earlier over the Western Bulldogs. So they're up top at the moment. We'll see if they stay there with the Sydney Swans to play Melbourne on Sunday. It'll be the first time in 11 years that the Dockers hold that top spot. Let's head into the rooms. Josh Money waiting for the Crows to arrive.
Yeah, well, after the goal that he will never, ever forget, Braden Cook has walked first into the rooms holding the showdown shield. An absolutely raucous reception in here. It's probably as close to as full as I have seen it in the Crows' rooms. And what an absolutely brave win it was with a couple men down on the bench as well. And this could be some time before we get to the song, I think, as well. But, sorry. But it'll be sung with plenty of gusto indeed. Tex and Miller are just making their way into the huddle now. It is loud in here. We'll be back with the showdown medalist in Sam Berry shortly.
What a night for the Adelaide Crows. It's been an emotional couple of weeks for them. The trip down the road midweek, fresh off the 5-day break against the Brisbane Lions. Looked like they were done and dusted when Port Adelaide hit the front late and Braden Cook finds one. Adelaide get the job done by a point, and the showdown just continues to deliver. Is there any more debate about where it sits in terms of the rivalries? It's got to be the best.
34%, mate, I heard.
Yep.
Is that right?
It'll be higher now. Actually, you know what? I'm going to crunch the numbers for you right now. So what did I have? I had 20 of the 58 games was a thriller, so you can make that 20 of the 59. So it's 30. Yeah, it's still 34%.
34%. It's one of those rivalries where you sort of think about, had we seen it all? But there's always something new. I mean, Jordan Dawson, who we know is going through a difficult time, he had his first showdown moment where he kicked a goal after the siren. That was unbelievably ridiculous. We had Stevie Motlop basically do what Braden Cook did, but a little bit, a bit more time left in the game. And for a young guy like Braden Cook, on the wrong side for a right footer, like when you think you've seen it all, Joe Berry, we thought, won the game before that.
That was a spectacular finish as well. So
2 goals in the last quarter for Joe Berry.
Yeah.
He only had one in the last 5 heading in as well.
He's got some zip, though, doesn't he? He's got genuine wheels, which is a massive asset. For Port Adelaide, if you assess the performance, it's still a strong performance, but 39 inside 50s is not going to get it done. At times their looks were good. They probably had better looks coming in there, but it's just a volume issue. You can't get it done on 39 entries, as opposed to last week where they restricted Geelong to 35. That's owning the game. So the Crows, you could argue, with a plus 20 inside 50 differential, should win the game. But it didn't feel like that for big chunks of it. It felt like Port were probably going to get away with it.
Well, they've dropped from 3rd to 12th in points per game, and this tonight won't help, finishing on 76. So it's what is the solution there? Is it that they don't have the timber firing? No Darcy Fogarty, Riley Philpop's been a little bit haggled, Tex Walker out early. Is it more that their stars aren't options, or is it the entries that are kind of hurting them?
Yeah, well, in the first quarter in particular, they weren't really giving their forwards a genuine opportunity, I don't believe. But there's no doubt that they've had a system that's been built on 3 talls, and they haven't got that at the moment. So they're going to have to get creative over the next little period until they get some of those players back. But what we saw today was Toby Murray stood up and kicked 2 really crucial goals in the 3rd quarter, and certainly early in the game he was giving a good presence further up the field. Finishes with goals and has an impact.
They're really starting to see the young stars flourish some of those including Toby Murray, Jake Saligo, another one of those, Braden Cook, the match winner, and Sam Berry, the showdown medalist, who's downstairs with Josh Money.
Sam, wow, what a finish. Have you ever played in a game quite like that, and how much does that win mean?
Yeah, I mean, that was a serious roller coaster. I don't think you'll get much more of an exciting 2 minutes. And especially to do that in the showdown, yeah, it was pretty incredible. Yeah.
What was going through your head when your namesake Joe Berry kicked that snap with less than a minute to go?
Yeah, I honestly thought we had it done. I was actually on the bench at the time and come back on, and it was 50 seconds, so there was enough time. And Ranks got a crucial free kick there and went down. And yeah, Braden Cook with that incredible finish. Yeah, it was incredible.
Tell us a bit about Braden Cook, because he's a quiet, unassuming character, but so many, an unbelievable skill bag. I mean, how big a moment is that in a young man's career?
Yeah, absolutely massive. I think for Cookie, it's probably been his confidence, and he's starting to flourish. I think every week he just keeps building, and no moment's bigger than tonight. But along with him, I think there's been so many of the young boys that stood up. I think, you boys mentioned before about Toby Murray standing up. I mean, every line over the ground, it was just really good to see. Big stretch in the ruck, had some pivotal moments, and from the very start.
You led the league in tackling a few years ago, 19 tonight. I'm not sure if you've had your numbers, but that's a phenomenal effort and a showdown medal. 3 votes from Tom Wilson upstairs as well, so remember to thank him. But what does it mean to you?
Yeah, no, it's obviously pretty special, but I think, the biggest one is just winning that game of footy. And, I guess it's a bit of a cherry on top, but, it doesn't compare to that win, because that was just something else.
Here's Lauren Arnell and Doc Clark.
Thanks.
Sam, congratulations. What a fantastic game. I'm really interested to hear about the conversations during the week post that Lions loss and how much that's influenced the midfield dominance and the inside 50 dominance going into tonight.
Yeah, I think coming off last week and probably weeks leading in was not getting a done contest, and a lot of that was from the mid. So, I think tonight we needed to stand up, and again, probably didn't quite get it done in the first half, but the second half, I think we stood up.
I thought you absolutely led the way with that. And you mentioned before you knew that there was 50 seconds left on the clock after the Joe Berry goal. Can you take us inside your midfield group, and what was the conversation? What was the plan of the execution going inside that last centre bounce?
Yeah, it was, I guess, just all-out attack. I think we kind of say you'd rather lose by 2 goals than 5 points or 4 points or whatever it was. So, we had a play going in there. Didn't quite go to plan, but as I said, Ranks got that free kick, and, the rest is history.
And just during the game, obviously that first half, we saw Taylor Walker injured early in the first quarter, and then Jordan Butts down. Did any of the messaging from the coaches change, particularly at halftime, around your game style and what the initial plan was coming in that when you lost the both tools?
No, there was no change in game style. I think it was just that we're just going to have to stand up as a group, and special mention to the backs group, because I don't think a single member of them got a rest in the third quarter, and barely in the fourth as well. So we just had to kind of grind it out, and super proud of the group that we were able to do that.
Sam, how are you, mate? It's Doc here. Just interested in the discussion around Butters and Horne-Francis. From the outside, obviously we see their potential to hurt you. Was it designated that anyone was going to run with, or was it more just a collective shutdown role?
JP tried to get to Butters, and then I think with Horne-Francis it was a collective role. You just got to respect them, Doc. You know how it is. They're extremely talented players, and we kind of talk about getting them done, and they'll lead you to the ball. So, it's just about embracing that and respecting them.
Sam, I understand we've got to let you go, but very quickly, 19 tackles. What on earth happened tonight? That was an incredible performance.
I was probably just on the back of Horne-Francis and Butters. I think that's maybe
well played. Thanks for taking the time, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Adelaide winners by a point in Showdown 59. Sam Berry, the Showdown medalist, downstairs with us on ABC Sport. A little shorter than we anticipated, but sounds like they want to really celebrate with Matty Nix in the room, so we'll try and get some more fallout as we can.
Sam Berry's such a great performance from him, because he's had to stand up in that midfield group, and no doubt he sort of broke out over the last couple of years. A few years ago, when he was emerging and he led the league in tackles, he did this comedy skit with a group talking about the art of the tackle. And for a young player, I think that just says a little bit about that he can take, the P155 out of himself and that he's leading the lead in tackles, and his first move in any competition is to tackle. And we saw 19 tackles tonight, and then you top that off with 29 touch. And I think you mentioned, Lauren, about the metres gained that he contributed tonight.
704.
That's a huge amount from a midfielder.
And no one's really near him, are they?
No.
He's a good 100 clear, 200 clear of Isaac Rankin, probably with the next best.
Jacob Ware had 528, working really hard on a wing for Port, but such a dominant performance.
Yeah, and I just love that, it says Victorian kid comes over to South Australia, but to be able to be playing in these big occasion games, and as we've discussed all night, the showdown is now, and it should have forevermore, be set as a standalone because it deserves the billing. So it's South Australia's night of nights, and we put on the weather for a change, so that was pretty good.
How many times do you think someone may have suggested to Andrew Dillon at the pre-game and game function that this should be a standalone game?
Dear. Well, it was by the end.
He got booed, properly booed.
Yeah.
Let's say that's the feedback.
I reckon. Direct.
At least he's seen it physically in person now. He understands how incredible this night can be, and again, going down to a single-digit margin, it just continues to deliver the showdown. 1 point in the end, and we've harped on it a bit, but I think both clubs walk away with their heads held high. Port Adelaide are going through this reboot/rebuild. They're 3-5, but they've been very competitive over the last month, and arguably could have won this game. And for the Crows, for who they were missing, everything they've gone through, they just keep finding a way.
Absolutely, and again for Port, they'll be absolutely filthy that they've lost this game, and it's a showdown. We know how important they are, and at the same time, they've come into this little fixture block where they've just lost to Hawthorn, could have won that game, tied it up Geelong at Adelaide Oval, just missed here, and now they go into the next fortnight where they've got the Dogs here again next Friday night, and the Suns in Darwin the following Friday night. And I think if Josh Carr can continue the narrative of where he's got this group to so far in this season of just stay level-headed, respond to